This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
The Marcus Marauders are on Champion Sports Radio. This broadcast of the Louisville Independent School District is sponsored by Whirly Ball, with 2 locations to serve you in Plano and Hurst. Leagues are forming right now, so visit them online at whirlyball.info. In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. Call 972-851-7888 or online at incommandbroadcasting.com. By Point of Origin Design, a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. Online at pointoforigindesign.com. ShockboxDFW.com. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. The Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra and the new GDYO Jazz Institute. Enjoy a cultural experience with your family without breaking the bank. Visit gdyo.org for more information. Marcus Marauders Football is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio on Twitter at Champion Sports, Facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and online at ChampionSportsRadio.com. Welcome to the Whirly Ball pregame show. This is the 30th Battle for the Axe, but it has more than just symbolic meaning this time around. Both teams aim to be upstarts in the playoff race for District 6-6A. Both teams showed progress in 2014, although they failed to make the playoffs. Both have appeared stronger through the first 2 games of the 2015 season. But consider what both Marcus and Louisville face after tonight's district opener. Allen, Plano, Plano East, all undefeated right now, are on the schedule. McKinney Boyd awaits. They've been to the playoffs 5 years in a row. Plano West and Hebron. They are always threats. And then there's Flower Mound, which would like nothing better than to stick it to their LISD rivals. The loser of tonight's game faces an uphill climb in the race for a District 6-6A playoff berth. The winner is guaranteed nothing. However, they should stamp themselves as a contender for the postseason. Hello, everybody. This is the Whirly Ball pregame show from Max Goldsmith Stadium. I'm Cecil Taylor, and welcome. I'm the play-by-play voice for Marcus Marauders football this 2015 season. I'm joined by Ryan Medlin, who's providing color commentating tonight. And Ryan, what do we know so far about Marcus through the first 2 games of the season?
I think we see a team that they don't care who's across the line on the field. They're going to take it out there and give it their best every down of every quarter of every game, and you're going to see a team who's resilient and a team who even if odds may be stacked against them maybe once or twice during a game, they're going to come back and they're going to power through whatever adversity they face.
I think we saw that last week when they faced a block punt for the first time in the first quarter, and the defense rose to the occasion, followed by the offense.
You almost are happy to get that block punt because I think you have better field possession in that situation than you would otherwise had that punt go off. So, I mean, you could not ask more for your defense last week. And also on offense, you had a lot of strong things going your way on that side of the ball as well. Between running backs and passing, you were just firing on all cylinders.
The Marcus Marauders have shown to be a very capable defensive team. They've only given up 2 field goals in the first 3 quarters of the 2 games combined. Nobody scored a touchdown until the 4th quarter. So this defense is one that's going to be tough to score on.
They're going to be tough to score on, and they're going to be tough to get any yardage on as well. We saw a lot of losses for Arlington last week. It was very rare that they made forward progress on the field. A lot of times losing the ball, even if they had enough time to make a play, the defense found a way to make things go their way and avoid letting Arlington get yardage that they don't want to give up.
Their first 2 games were really different. The Mansfield game was more taking advantage of Mansfield mistakes and taking opportunities when they came their way. But for the Arlington game, it was one where the Marauders seemed to just seize control and just beat up Arlington by the time it was all over.
I think from start to finish, we saw a Marauder football team that was not going to give up, and they were not going to let this game slip away from themselves. And they, even when they were up a couple touchdowns, they kept it going, right? And, you'll always hear the saying, first to 100 wins, right? Well, you're never going to score 100 points in football. I mean, that's ridiculous, but you're going to try as hard as you can to get as close as you can to that mark. And I think that's what Marcus did last week, and I think they really showed the district that they're not going to be somebody to just scoff at this season. And I think that starts here tonight against Louisville.
It's the battle for the axe between the Marauders and the Fighting Farmers. When we come back on the Whirly Ball pregame show, we'll talk to Louisville coach Greg Miller when Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute, online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the #1 cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
Welcome back to the Whirly Ball pregame show. Time now for the Louisville Coaches Show. Coach Greg Miller with us. And coaches, I look at the 2 offensive lines for Marcus and for Louisville. Seems like we have 2 of the biggest offensive lines in the state, don't we?
I don't know if the state. You look at some of these other guys around here. There's a lot of healthy ones. They've always got a big line. They do a good job. Their kids do a really good job of beefing up. The ones that are going to play O-line, they embrace playing O-line, and our kids are finally getting into that a little bit, to where it's okay to be an O-lineman, because it's a big part of the game. And we've just got some bigger kids finally. Like I was saying earlier, we get off the bus now and we kind of feel like we're supposed to be there with our offensive line, as opposed to having a little guy hidden in here or slipping a little shorter guy or a little thinner guy where he probably shouldn't be,
You have a tackle that was picked by Texas football on its super team for the state. Could you introduce our listeners to Denzel Okafor?
Denzel Okafor is probably one of the nicest kids I have ever been around. He has such a big heart. He's always helping people. It's just phenomenal. I watch him pretty closely, and he goes to the elementary schools, and he does a lot of things. Sells snow cones in the summertime to make money, and he's just a great guy. He's a super leader for our team, and he's got a switch that comes on Friday nights and on the one-on-one sessions, and he can be as violent as he needs to be, but he's just such a good person, and that was a whole lot of the attraction for some of these colleges as they would come to watch him. He would talk to the team after practice, and he would get on to a kid when they needed to get. He's the one that yells at kids when they're late. He's picked that up from the coaching staff. He gets on them when they come out the door late and tells them to hustle and gets them to start doing rolling or whatever it is. And the coaches, all the coaches, the college coaches were really impressed with his leadership, and they're all wanting him. He's been offered by just about everybody in the nation. He's narrowed it down to TCU in Texas, and he's not budging. He won't even give me a hint. Every once in a while he'll let me know who's in first place, but it flips and flops. So I don't know what he's going to do. I really don't. But he'll be fine either way. Either one of those schools is a great school, great football programs, and both of them have great traditions, so he'll be fine either way.
That's certainly the kind of kid you love to have in your program. Conversation with Coach Greg Miller of Louisville, and Coach, looking at your offense coming into this season, you lost a lot of folks from last year. Quarterback was a question mark, but it looks like your quarterback, Aubrey Bob, is really coming around.
He is, and Aubrey has been a guy that has been in our program, and he's always been very intelligent. He's a kid that'll walk up to me and say, "Hey, Coach, are we doing this?" And I'll say, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Remember when we were freshmen, you said if we ever did this, we'd do this?" I mean, he doesn't forget anything, and it's not a "I got you" kind of deal. He just remembers. He loves not pretending being a coach, but he loves to try to get into the mind of the coach and trying to figure out what we're going to do and why he loves to ask questions. Hey, Coach, why did we do this and why we did do that? Because he wants to know, not because he's questioning anything. He understands our offense. He understands his limitations, and he doesn't get us hurt. He's not the guy. He can't. I guarantee I've got 10 kids that can throw the ball further down the field than him, but he's the one that won't put it where it doesn't need to be. And that's what's so smart about Aubrey is he's just so wise to the game and understands his limitations and knows his strengths and doesn't get us hurt.
On the other side of the ball, defensively, your team struggled the first week, but you've been working to shore that up. Talk about your defense's progress this season.
Well, we've made a lot of progress the last week. Playing Rowlett, they've got 3 really, really good receivers, one of the best quarterbacks in the Metroplex, if not the state. That guy's really, really come a long ways in a short amount of time, and he was good last year. We knew going in that he could expose us, and he did. And we have some young kids in our secondary and had some kids maybe playing out of position, but that's what the preseason is for, is to hopefully you get exposed in your weak spots, and we knew going in that we might have some issues, and we did, and we've worked on them. We got a little bit better against Richland, and we still gave up some stuff that we should not have given up. And we won that game, and that's the best way to learn. Sometimes we tell them all the time, don't get too down on yourself when you mess up, because that's the quickest way to learn it at times. If you want to do things right, sometimes you got to do them wrong first, so you'll understand why you have to do them right. But I think we're going to continue to develop, continue to do good things on Friday nights.
And finally, of course, that preseason you mentioned is over now. District play starts. What's your view of who the favorites and dark horses might be in 6-6A?
I think the favorites are probably going to be Allen, of course. I mean, they just reload every year. They got tons of kids, and they got a great program and tradition. You don't win 3 in a row by being lucky, And then, I think Plano East is going to be one that really comes up and gets on some people. They returned all their kids from last year. We beat them last year in a big shootout. I think it was 58-56. We're not accustomed to scoring that many or giving up that many. But that was a unique deal. And like I said, they're all coming back. And they had a quarterback that didn't play up until the night they played us. And he's back, and he's doing well. I think Plano East is going to be the team that jumps up in front of some people this year.
Okay, this has been Coach Greg Miller of Louisville on the Farmers Coaches Show. And coming up next, we'll have Marcus coach Jerry Stanford when Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
Shell experts here to talk about the protective shield you see at Shell stations all over the country.
Featuring us.
It's there to remind you that no other gasoline protects your engine better than Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. Now with 20% more cleaning agents than before.
Performance-robbing gunk doesn't stand a chance because your intake valves and fuel injectors are protected.
Actively shielded.
Hence the big protective shield here.
So try Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines today. No other gasoline protects your engine better.
For quality auto service and repair, see the folks at Flat Shell on Preston Road at I-635.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
Are you looking for a way to promote your business or increase exposure? Do you just need more people to know that you're there? Join the Champion Sports Radio team and advertise during these games. In the last 4 years, Champion Sports Radio has broadcast over 600 games to more than 3.5 million listeners. And Champion Sports Radio wants to help you use major high school sports to reach thousands of local fans right in your community. Think about it. Die-hard fans just like you tune in each and every week, giving your business unparalleled access to the community. It's the perfect way for smaller individually owned businesses to cultivate a core clientele or expand their already loyal customer base. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334 or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcast.
Welcome back to the Whirly Ball pregame show. Time now for the Marcus Coaches Show, and we're joined by Coach Jerry Stanford. And, Coach, last week we assigned Player of the Game honors to Nate Hopkins. Had a great night, but really there were so many units that did well on the field. I wanted to highlight them as we start this week's show. So one of those was the offensive line that opened up those holes so that both CJ and Nate were able to get 100-yard games last week.
Yeah, we really felt good about our offensive line last week. We felt coming from week 1 to week 2, that unit saw the biggest improvement for what we were looking for, and that's progress each week. And we thought they progressed more than anybody else and just did a great job. We had 2 backs over 100 yards. We were able to throw for over 100 yards. That just keeps us a balanced attack. And when that offensive line can get going, that just gives us a better opportunity to win the game.
And I thought the position switch, you moved Jesse Nybor over to center. That seemed to work well, and you're always evaluating how you can get the best players on the field, right?
Yeah, correct. I mean, Jesse was one of those things the offensive line coaches just brought to the table on a Sunday, so they felt like it's just made us better by getting the best 11 people in the best right spots, and I think it paid dividends for us.
I thought another unit that did well was the defensive line, and we really saw that in a stretch in the first quarter after the blocked punt. You were in a negative field position, and you pushed them back 14 yards and forced a long field goal. I thought the defensive line had a great night all in all. It wasn't until that long run late, really, that they gave up much of anything.
Yeah, we've been able to, increase our depth on our defensive line and really get some great mileage out of some players. And so we're pretty deep right there. The kids did a great job. Taylor Hawkins had a great night all the way around. Our junior defensive tackle just did a great job. So we were really pleased with the way they played up until the long run at the end. We were up at 9. We held them to minus 10 yards rushing until the long run at the very end of the game. So we felt really good coming into the game and then exiting the game with just giving up 66 yards total rushing.
And then a tandem that has done really well for you. I'm liking the play of Matt Hankins, Cameron Hupfer. You look at the way they're playing, they challenge for the ball, and if they can't get the ball, then they're going to make the tackle pretty quickly.
Yeah, those two guys are very experienced in their positions. They bring us some leadership at those positions out wide, and so we've been really pleased all year long with those two in their play.
So now we shift gears into non-district play as we're on the Marcus Coaches Show here with Coach Jerry Stanford. And Coach, as you look at District 6A and the way it's gone, the first couple of weeks of non-district play, any new reflections? What does it look like as district play comes up?
I think each week you've got 8 straight weeks here that we've got to go through where we don't get a break. And I think each week we've got to bring our best game or it's going to be a long night for us. We've got our work cut out for us starting this week in the Battle of the Axe with Louisville, which is always a highly contested game on both sides. And so we know we've got an uphill battle, and we've just got to take a slow climb and take it one day at a time, 1 week at a time, and focus on the fact that we've got to continue to progress in our scheme and our evaluations of players and making sure we're ready to play on Friday night.
Louisville and Marcus has been a great rivalry for a long time. What are you looking at from the Farmers this week, and what worries you as you look ahead to them?
I think they've got a really athletic senior quarterback with an outside receiver that's very athletic. He's 6'6", and then they've got 2 running backs that are always capable of extending the play. And so they run behind a very experienced offensive line. Their left tackle is one of the top left tackles in the nation. It'll be a great challenge for our defensive line to really see where we are against somebody that has the same athletic ability as we do, if not more athletic ability. And so we're really to accept the challenge and really get a good idea of where we are as we start off district play.
So coming out of non-district, going into district, what are some of the key points of improvement for your team? What are you looking to get better at this week?
We've got to continue to minimize our pre-snap penalties and make sure we're not putting ourselves in a negative situation on a mental error. We've got to continue to do a great job of tackling in the open field, wrapping up, and keeping yardage to a minimum as best possible at the point of contact and not allowing for runs to be extended because of missed tackles.
Okay, we've been talking with Coach Jerry Stanford on the Marcus Coaches Show, and we'll have more on the Whirly Ball pregame show when Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShotboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
The Whirly Ball pregame show continues now from Max Goldsmith Stadium. Cecil Taylor, Ryan Medlin with you. During the warm-ups and pregame ceremonies here, of course it being the anniversary of 9/11, we have had some appropriate commemoration. Right now, the coin flip is taking place on the field, and the captains of both teams are joined by soldiers, they're joined by firefighters, and by police officers, and by other people representing the schools. So a lot of commemoration, a lot of good things were said about us remembering the sacrifice of people on that day 14 years ago. Let's take a look at the keys to the game now, Ryan, and what are some of the things that you're looking at tonight as being the key between the Marauders and the Fighting Farmers?
Well, let's start with the Fighting Farmers, as I think the key for Louisville tonight is they're going to have to keep Marcus on their toes. And I mean that in the sense of they're going to have to run the ball, they're going to have to put the ball through the air, and they're going to have to move quickly to do so. We talked about the strength of the defensive line for the Marauders, and we're going to see that here in full force tonight with district play opening up. So if Louisville wants to make something happen, they're going to have to make it happen quick every down of every play of every quarter.
I think one of the things that's going to be interesting is the passing game, because Louisville did give up, as we heard on the pregame show, some big plays. They have given up 5 touchdown passes of 42 or more yards so far. Meanwhile, they are a team that strikes from a long distance as well. All 8 of the Farmers' touchdowns this year have come from 13 yards or more. So I'm looking at big plays tonight as being part of the mix and part of the things that the defenses are going to want to get under control.
Marcus is heading into this game 14-13-1, leading in the Battle of the Axe. So you got to believe Louisville is going to have to match that 14 put up by the Marauders in a game that's been storybooked, and I mean that in every sense of the word, throughout the years. And by the size of the crowds tonight, Cecil, I think this is a storybook night for something big to happen.
Well, we're almost ready for the start of the game. The Marauders have come through their helmet, and Louisville's team is getting ready to come out and make their appearance on the field. Here come the Marauders through the drill team, and they're welcomed by their red-clad fans on the far side, the east side of the field. Let's take a break, as this is the Whirly Ball pregame show, and we'll have more of the run-up to kickoff when Marcus Marauder football continues in a moment.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the #1 cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
And as we get ready for the opening kickoff, maybe it's appropriate that things have timed out to where we are going to hear the national anthem on this 14th anniversary of 9/11. There's a color guard at midfield. Both teams on the field facing the south end for the arrival of the flag. And we'll have the playoff PA announcer is going to introduce the bands now.
The national anthem.
Okay, we're ready for the battle for the axe now. Marcus in Louisville. The coin toss went to Marcus receiving at the south end of the field. As we get ready for the 30th Battle of the Axe, Marcus has won the last 8 and has an overall record of 15, 13, and 1. This has been a big rivalry over the years, Ryan, where they've right now we're playing at Max Goldsmith Stadium, but we've seen it played at venues like Texas Stadium.
Yeah, and this one's even bigger for both teams because you know what, Cecil? It's been more than a decade since both teams headed into this game with victories.
Pretty unusual that they shouldn't be able to go through it, but this is also earlier in the year than perhaps in the past, and so right now 1-1 Louisville against 2-0 Marcus. The Marauders are ranked number 8 in the Metroplex in the 6A rankings. Kicking off is Matt McDonald for the Louisville Farmers. Back deep to receive for Elijah Chop and Jake Nelson as we get underway in this one. Thanks for being with us on Marcus Marauders football. And here's the kickoff by McDonald. It's going to go high towards Nelson right at about the goal line. He'll take it to the right side. And wait a minute, there's already whistles. I think were they not ready to go?
I think the officials may not have been ready. I think Louisville may have gotten a little too excited as there's no flags on the field. He didn't call touchback. Beats me.
It's very unusual to see the returner start running the ball, and after 5 yards, he just stops and looks at the referee. So I guess everything was not set. Louisville kicked off a little early, so Matt McDonald will try it again. McDonald is both the punter and the place kicker for the Fighting Farmers.
I say if you're Louisville, you go onside kick right here. They already think you're going to kick it away. Why not throw it up a little change up there?
Okay.
The ball is falling off the tee. He's going to have to go and reset it again. The wind is pretty strong here tonight, moving from south to north.
Little moment of comedy there. We get ready to go again. Marauders and Fighting Farmers for the battle for the axe for the 30th time. McDonald approaches and toes it. This time it's going to go deeper than last time. Nelson's going to watch it go out of the back of the end zone, and it'll come out with the touchback. So for the Marcus Marauders, they will be led by quarterback Mitch Kaysen, who has thrown for 276 yards and 5 touchdowns so far this season. In the backfield with him, Nate Hopkins, a 221-pound senior, and C.J. Respis both had over 100 yards rushing last week. Andrew Parrish, Matt Hankins, Alex Albright are the wide receivers. Up front, Caden Smith is the tight end, Peyton Keibel and A.J. Wozniak the tackles. Troy Elliott, Luke McBride at guards, Jesse Nybor at center. So from the 25-yard line, Marcus gets going. Kaysen in the shotgun. surrounded by both Hopkins and Respus, and there are flags that, or at least whistles. I didn't see a flag, but everything is stopped before they get going, and there is a penalty marker down. And, well, there's a pre-snap penalty like Coach Stanford was talking about in the coaches show. The Marauders are averaging 57 yards on penalties so far this season in each game, and there's a 5-yarder to start this one off. So the handoff goes to Hopkins, going from right to left. He's gained back about the 5 yards that he lost due to the penalty, so it'll bring about 2nd down and 10.
Modric Pelican on the tackle there. Didn't give him much room to get through there as Marcus tries to get things going, but unfortunately you have two things that really slowed you down to start this game off, so the momentum's kind of not there right now.
Modric Pelican has my favorite name of the year so far. Hopkins, a single setback, swings out to the left side. Caden Smith takes a pass there, and 2 guys are right there to take him down, led by Cortez Thomas, the scrappy 160-pound senior defensive back, and they drop Caden Smith for a loss of about 2 back to the 23-yard line.
Matthew Kibbe helping him out on that one. They tried to go for the screen pass to the left there. Marauders trying to get the ball in the air early, which they didn't do a lot of against Arlington last week, trying to establish a pass game. Unfortunately, they came up short there.
First 3rd down situation as 1 minute is gone in our first quarter. Kaysen is the only one in the backfield with 5 wide receivers on 3rd down 12 from his own 23-yard line. Kaysen, blitz coming, and he's going to go down. He got tripped up by one man, but then coming up with the sack on the blitz, looked like it was Deleon Voss, a senior linebacker coming in. So that's a loss of 4 back to the 19-yard line, and Marcus is quickly forced to punt.
We're used to the Marauders getting pretty quick starts in their past 2 games as far as getting the ball down the field. Not seeing that here tonight. Maybe a little bit of adversity early. Maybe it'll be interesting to see how they respond to that next time they get the ball. Definitely not the way you want to start the game, though.
John Mayer's first punt last week was blocked. Coach Stanford said it was a missed assignment. This time, heavy rush, but he gets it away. It's a line drive kick taken at midfield by Shavers. Tyrell Shavers, their star receiver. He gains about 4 yards before he's swarmed under by a number of men from Marcus, including Ridge Rogers and Dylan Holcomb. So spotted at the 46 in Marcus territory, and good starting field position for the Louisville Farmers. At quarterback, they have Aubryon Bobb, a senior, who is really the guy who makes their offense go. And we also, let's have a quick timeout, as we do have a player down on the field right now. With 10 minutes exactly to go in the first quarter, our score is 0-0, and Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores, 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
As the injured player continues to be attended to here on the field, let's look at what's going on in the rest of District 6-6A, as this game, of course, Marcus at Louisville. McKinney Boyd is facing Allen, so they draw the toughest assignment to start district play. Plano is visiting Hebron, and Plano East is at Flower Mound. Plano West has the week off.
And a quick update with that Allen McKinney Boyd. Allen is already in the red zone in that game, looking to strike early and probably strike often for that one.
So here we go with an advantage for the Louisville Farmers after the first possession by the Marcus Marauders, as Louisville will start this possession at the Marcus 46-yard line. Ball is on the left hash mark. It's a pistol look with a fullback and a tailback next to Aubryon Bobb. And he'll take it and fake the handoff. He's going to look deep. He's throwing it deep for Tyrell Shavers, who's broken free, and he catches it at the 10 and will score.
Wow. What an excellent pass there by Bob as he looks to go to number 23 for the Marauders, Cameron Huppner's guy. And unfortunately, Hupfer is not able to get there, and they're able to get a tremendous pass. And on the first play of the game, they're in the end zone.
Well, I said that they were adept at those long plays. That's their 9th touchdown of the season, and they have all been at least 13 yards.
Put that one on their tab, I guess.
Extra point coming from Matt McDonald out of the hold of Logan Franklin, a sophomore quarterback and wide receiver, and the kick is up, and it is good. And our new score is Louisville 7 and the Marcus Marauders nothing. And we barely got time to introduce you to the folks from Louisville. So Tyrell Shavers, who caught that touchdown pass, is a junior wide receiver, 6'5", 195, has 4.7 speed, and that is his 4th receiving touchdown of the season.
Yeah, Tyrell Shavers, he's the go-to guy for the Farmers. The junior, he's 6'5", 195. Expect the ball to go to him a lot, and expect the Marauders defense to try and figure out a way to stop him.
So 46-yard strike, and as we said in the pregame show, there's a possibility that the big plays would continue. The Marauders would have to watch out for that. It looked to me like there was a double move made on the defensive back by Marcus. Shavers started to go down the sideline, then broke it back towards the post, and he lost his defender.
Yeah, Shavers is really agile, and that's one of the things that makes him a great receiver. A great receiver, not only a guy who can catch the ball, but a guy who can get completely open, which Shavers did there. There was no chance on that one for Marcus to catch up, and that was a for sure touchdown.
And so the kick goes deep, this time from McDonald to Nelson. He'll take a knee at the back of the end zone. So bring it out to the 25-yard line for the second possession for the Marcus Marauders.
And, while you do have the whole entire game as we just started, the Marcus offense really needs to get something going here, Cecil. If you want to keep in this game and not let things get out of hand, you got to make a move here and get the ball down the field, at least put 3 on the board, I think, this drive.
Well, and especially I think you want to get some momentum. You want to establish some first downs and at least get the ball rolling. They started slow last week, but then got it going on their second possession. So let's see what Marcus can do this time. 3 wideouts, 2 to the right, 1 to the left, at their own 25-yard line, trailing quickly now by a score of 7-0.
Louisville safeties playing awfully close to the linebackers.
Blitz look, actually, and here's the handoff to Respis. He finds a crease, and he's across the 30 to the 32-yard line. He is slung down by Cortez Thomas at that point.
Yeah, Cortez Thomas meets him right when he makes free with the ball, able to bring him down, and the Marauders just a couple yards shy of that first down to keep this drive going.
Second down 2, Hopkins and Respis in the backfield next to Kaysen. Throwing it out to the left side, it's Albright. He swings around one man and is only able to get a yard or so. Coming up strong from the secondary to help out was DeMondrick Hunter, one of the DBs, and he was helping out Matthew Kibbe that time. So it'll be a third down short. They're going to say no gain on this play to the 33.
Yeah, Kaysen looked to his left once again for the screen pass to Albright. Unfortunately, it was not there as the Louisville defense just seems to have the playbook for the Marauders.
Caden Smith is the tight end left. 2 backs, handoff to Respis, and he's hit, but he spins for the first down across the 35, lands at the 38 in his own territory. There's the first down of the night for the Marauders.
Brought down by Amadric Pelican, your number one guy for name choice-wise. Pelican been pretty active here early. See, so one of the things I've noticed as well is the safeties for Louisville been playing really low, almost as a linebacker, and they're liking to show blitz but not necessarily go with it, but maybe to kind of spook the Marauders a little bit.
1st and 10 from their own 39. Marauders. Kaysen has lots of time, has a man down the side of the field. He'll go up. It's caught. There's a penalty marker down. I think it was interference on the defense, but that was caught that time by Caden Smith. And he's deep inside the 25.
Yeah, Caden Smith beat off Kyle Smith and Shaq Miller of the Louisville Farmers to get free. He had double coverage on him and still able to get through and make a tremendous catch.
Great job. Kaysen hooking up with Smith, and that is the 12th time this season that connection has worked. They have a first down now at the Louisville 24-yard line is where they're spotting it.
Good momentum shift there for the Marauders as they look to enter the red zone here, about 4 yards shy.
Louisville 7, Marcus nothing. Marauders at the Farmer 24-yard line. Give goes to Respis. Lead blocker is Hopkins, and he can't get out of the tackle there of, I think that was Quattrell Dean, but a little hard to see the number that time. Oh, I'm sorry, that was Matthew Kibbe coming up from the secondary and stopped him for no gain.
Louisville not happy they gave up that much yardage, coming out strong here for the defense as they're trying to stop the Marauders in their tracks to keep their 7-point lead.
Just under 8 minutes to go, first quarter. Kaysen again in the gun. Run, look. It's going to go to Hopkins for the first time tonight. He breaks the tackle. He's into the secondary. The 10, the 5, touchdown. He sets the ball down in the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Marcus Marauders. The extra point could tie the game.
Excellent run there by Hopkins, and that's one of the great things about Hopkins is he knows where to find the holes, and he's able to cleanly get through. I think he maybe had a hand on him at one point, but there was no chance of him going down, and 7 points, hopefully pending this kick, will go on the board for the Marauders.
That was a nice hole off the right side of the line, but Hopkins, as always, a running back has to be the blocker in some case. He has to take on a man himself and beat him, and Hopkins gave a shake move, faked out the DB, and then he was off to the races. Coming on to kick now is Matthew Cunningham for the extra point, his first attempt this year. And this kick is up, and he ties the game at 7. 7:41 to go in the first quarter. We're knotted at 7 in the battle for the Axe. You're listening to Marcus Marauders Football.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
So the Marauders score on their second possession. That was a 6-play drive going 75 yards. So nice job after the touchback, and they were able to take it. Big play on that drive was the 37-yard pass from Kaysen to Caden Smith, and then Hopkins scored to knot the game up.
Cunningham out there to take the kick for the Marauders. Once again, John Mayers went down. That was the player that was injured earlier in the quarter, and it looks like he might be out for a little bit here. So Cunningham getting the kick.
Mayers has been really good with his kickoffs. This is a short kick that's going to bounce at the 20-yard line. The Marauders have a chance at it, and I think they have the football. The Marauders have gotten it. And leaping up to make the play is Elijah Jopp. Elijah Jopp picks up the bounding ball. It was a high bounce off the turf and a big play for the Marauders at the 20-yard line of Louisville.
That's got to be some loaded turf or something. I don't think I've ever seen a football bounce that high off a kickoff. That ball went about 100 yards in the air. It looked like it was going to go short, but for some reason the Louisville Farmers didn't think to pick it up, not realizing that Jopp was right there, jumps over the Farmers defender there, and is able to pick the ball up midair. Unbelievable.
So that's one of the longest onside kicks you'll ever see.
That might be a record. I think you're right on that one.
For the right hash mark, Marauders at the 20-yard line of Louisville trying to take advantage of this unusual play. Kaysen throws it out right side. Nice snag by Caden Smith. 3 guys hit him at the 13 and drive him out of bounds. But that was a low outside pass, which is where you should put an out pass. But Smith reached down and grabbed it.
And I got to hand it to the Marauder offense trying to work in the passing early. We saw them kind of run away from that a little bit towards Arlington because it wasn't working out. So instead of just shying away from it completely this game, they decided, you know what, hey, this is something we need to work on. Let's do it in-game. Let's get game scenarios, and let's get our passing game under control.
We're tied at 7, but the Marauders are threatening after recovering that kickoff from the 13-yard line. Kaysen wings it out left side. Albright, there's a penalty marker down as Friedewald was trying to block for him, and this play's going to come back. He was driven out of bounds at about the 11, but I think he got locked up with the defensive back and was unable to let go. You know how you'll lock up and you'll be holding on, but at a certain point you have to let go, and the official didn't think he let go soon enough.
Holding on to DeModrick Hunter there, and unfortunately just, like you said, it's tough to do that and let go when you're in the heat of the moment, but unfortunately you're going to take a penalty there. Still have great field position. You're about at the 20 now, I want to say. Looks like they'll put it at the 25.
They're still figuring out to walk this off. So if you join us late, we've had fireworks early on the only play by the Farmers so far tonight. It was Tyrell Shavers catching a 46-yard touchdown pass, and then Nate Hopkins scored from 24 yards out on a run on the next possession for the Marauders. Right now, Marcus has the ball after the kickoff was neglected, I guess, by Louisville as it fell between two waves of receivers, and Elijah Jopp got it. Here's the handoff. Hopkins tries to swing outside, shakes one man, a second man, then dives forward to the 15-yard line, a spinning, whirling drive for 7 yards.
Shaq Miller bringing down Hopkins there. Hopkins looked left immediately, thought he saw something, but Miller got in there like he's known to do and closed that hole up really quick.
From the 15-yard line, this brings about 3rd down 6 for the Marauders. We're coming up on the halfway point of the first quarter. There are 5 wide receivers, so a pass look for Kaysen. He comes up behind center Jesse Nyborg, now steps back to the 20-yard line to receive the snap. 3-man rush, throws it left side. It is caught for the first down, and that is Caden Smith over there with an out route, diving out of bounds, and the gain is to the 8. Marcus has a 1st and goal.
Yeah, Caden Smith ran straight to Cortez Thomas, the cornerback for the Farmers, but then curled right or to his left, able to bring that pass in untouched, and then immediately brought down once he received the ball.
So for tonight, Smith has 4 receptions for 49 yards. Going up the middle, it was Respis on that handoff, and he fights his way down to about the 5.
We're going to see this a lot today, too, as we saw last week. Respis and Hopkins both getting a almost equal share of the ball as they're both dual threat weapons the Marauders have. So why waste the energy of one guy when you can split it between 2?
Marauders with 123 yards total in the first quarter already. Respis finds a seam, goes past left guard, hit right at the goal line, and he goes in standing up. So the Marauders have taken advantage, and they'll go up 13-7.
Yeah, and you know what? The offensive line, the size of the offensive line, they know what they're doing up front there, and they gave Respis a perfect hold there as he also walks in untouched. We saw that with Hopkins, the first touchdown. Respis has no trouble moving up the middle. A couple little juke moves to get the touchdown.
So with 5:38 to go in the first quarter, it's 13-7 Marcus. Cunningham comes over for the second extra point attempt of his season. Louisville overloads on the left side in an attempt to block the extra point. And his kick is pooched up and good. It is 14-7 rather. Marcus over Louisville here. And we've barely gotten past the midway point of the first quarter. So, Ryan, what are your thoughts at this point?
Well, I said it, and you can go back and quote me on it. There wasn't much momentum going into this game. We had the stop kick and the immediate penalty by the Marauders offense, but I feel like we're at a completely different football game in the past 4 minutes. As we've seen some of the craziest things we've seen in football, I've never seen a full-fledged kick bounce over a defense, bounce up in the air, and a player hurdled defense to get to the ball untouched almost, to get the ball with great field position and then go in and score a touchdown. That's a first for me. This game has turned out to be quite exciting, contrary to what I was saying beginning. So I'm excited, and I think the energy is starting to flow through my veins. I hope it is for the Marauders as well.
Yeah, Jopp leaped up like he was going for a rebound. It was one of those plays, just such a high bounce on the high kick. So Respis scores his second touchdown of the season. And Cunningham will kick off, and this time the Farmers are pulled up a little bit closer.
Yeah, I think this time they'll know to make sure they get some hands on the ball no matter where it goes, because you don't want what happened earlier to happen to you again.
Cunningham pops it up in about the same space at about the 22-yard line, and the return man will take it and go down pretty quickly. That's Kenry Newton, who took it at the 22 and advances it to about the 27 of Louisville, a 5-yard return. Good coverage that time by Marcus.
Louisville offense needing to make something happen here as they've fallen pretty quickly due to just some craziness happening earlier. We saw them come out, and I guess they've only run one play in the game so far, so maybe hopefully get some more reps here and just kind of get the offensive juices flowing.
I formation this time behind Aubrey and Bob, the senior quarterback, 170-pounder. Tight end moves to the left side of the line. And he's going to give to the deep back who tries the middle of the line. And that looks like McGee. Let me make sure. And it was Dante McGee who carried on, Dante McGee, who carried on that play. McGee comes into this game with 125 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and he was brought down by Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald, a strong component of the Marcus defense. Look for him to go up against the huge Denzel Okafor of the Louisville Fighting Farmers.
Right now, Okafor is set up at right tackle on 2nd and 6 from the Farmers' 31-yard line. Give to the up back Adebayo, and he gains nothing as Baudet, who is lined up over Okafor, swings around him and makes the tackle.
Yeah, and that's a big play for Baudet there. Okafor is a big guy, and you know what? He's got looks from TCU and UT right now. All he has to do is make a choice. So look for him to be a huge part of the offense for the Farmers. But Baudet there made it look like it was nothing to make that stop.
Baudet's 3rd tackle of the season brings about a 3rd down 5, 4.5 to go. Marauders protecting a 7-point lead. Bob is in the pistol right now, sends a man in motion. That's Logan Franklin. Looks for him, now looks deep for Shavers. He's going deep again. Good coverage this time. Now, Cameron Hupfer may be the victim of a flag, or maybe he was in a better position and Shavers may have been bumping him. Let's see what the call is.
It looked like there was a little bit of pushback there from Hupfer.
Hupfer actually was deeper than Shavers as they ran that route. We'll see. It's going to be a 15-yard penalty either way. The action took place at the 35, so let's see what the call is. It is against Louisville. It is against Shavers, as Hupfer had the position and Shavers was fighting him for the ball. So this walk-off will go against the Farmers.
And that just tells you it's great coverage by Hupfer there, as he's able to draw a offensive pass interference, something we don't see that often, and I don't think we've seen it this season for the defense of the Marauders. And you're going to push the offense of Louisville back 15 yards and make their task a lot harder than it needs to be for them.
Goes back to about the 17-yard line. Hupfer leads the Marauders in passes defensed with 4. He was in great position that time. Now the officials want to speak a little bit more about it. It may be that Marcus wants to decline this. It is declined. It'll go as an incomplete pass instead, because the result of the play is an incompletion and 4th down. So leave it at the 32-yard line, and this will force the first punt of the night by Matt McDonald.
Yeah, don't give him the first down if you don't have to, right? Go ahead and make him punt and get your offense the ball and make some more magic happen with 4:14 to go in the first quarter. I can't believe we're still in the first quarter. It seems like a lot more has gone on than normally does.
Lots of action so far, and back deep to receive is, looks like that's maybe Alex Gage for the first time. The snap goes over the head of McDonald. He tries to get the kickoff, and he does. It's a great kick considering the circumstances from his own 5-yard line. He gets a roll. It bounds at midfield inside the 40, inside the 35, and down at the 30-yard line. Folks, he kicked that from his 5-yard line. That's what adrenaline will do for you in the battle for the axe.
And we got to give credit where credit's due. McDonald had an excellent play there. That ball was about 3 feet over his head, and it looked like he was going to have to scramble and just fall down on it. No, he picks it up with 3 guys charging at him, able to turn to his left and get a punt off, and a fairly good one as that landed at about the 50-yard line and then rolled to about the 45. A little bit further, they're going to spot it at the 30.
2 Marauders were in hot pursuit that time, but he was able to get away from them and make a running kick that winds up being a punt, officially of 38 yards, but it was a lot farther from where he had to punt it. 3rd possession for the Marauders, ball on the left hash at their own 30, leading 14-7. Kaysen talks to his backs for a moment. Hopkins, Respis, and Respis will take it, and he bursts through the right side, evades one man, and is brought down by the second one. He was tackled by Shaq Miller, but not before Respis had penetrated the secondary for 9 yards.
Respis, a great running back and a great number 2. I don't even know if you want to call him a number 2 at this point. You call him 0.5 and 0.5 because they add up to your one running back because you're using both Hopkins and Respis. Respis able to find a great hole there.
2nd and 2, quick pass out to Albright. He has the first down and more across the 40 and the 45-yard line is where they're going to spot it. That time, the coverage on the left side was backed up a little bit, and Albright was unchallenged when he caught that quick flare.
Yeah, he did. He got it. He was unchallenged and then eventually brought down by DeModrick Hunter. Also been very active in the back position for this game.
Albright's 8th catch of the season. Here's the handoff to Respis, off to the right side. He's into the secondary. He has a first down in Louisville territory inside the 45, finally wrestled down at the 41, and that's a big pickup that time of 14 yards.
Respis last game against Arlington notched off 15 carries, 109 yards, averaging 7 yards a carry. Expect for him to get probably past that tonight at the rate he's going.
Marcus is starting to get it going on the ground. 101 yards rushing after that play. On 1st and 10 at the 41. Great move in the backfield by Respis to get around 2 men who had a beat on him, and he stumbles forward for 5 yards down to the 36.
Yeah, Kalen Foster met him in the backfield, but Respis with a little juke and spin move, able to get by him and get an extra 5 yards before eventually being brought down.
Contorted his body to get away. They're going to actually spot him at the 37, so a gain of 4, but great play by Respis just to get 4 on that. Should have been a loss. Kaysen back to throw. Only 3 men in the round. Throws it deep for Caden Smith. It's broken up. A little underthrown that time, and it looked like Cortez Thomas, who at 5'8", is giving up 9 inches to Caden Smith, but he breaks up the pass.
Yeah, and that ball was nearly intercepted as he had hands on it. Unfortunately, as he came down, let go of it. So Mark is trying to go through the air, changing things up from the ground game, and just not really able to meet his target there. Maybe look for them to go to the ground again here.
First incompletion of the night for Kaysen. He's 6 out of 7 for 56 yards. It's a 3rd down 6. And they will go with the run on 3rd down 6. Hopkins is stuffed in the backfield, though, fights his way for a single yard to the 35. Now, and the tackle, by the way, made by Matthew Kibbe coming up from the secondary. This is the position on the field just about last week where they scored their first touchdown. They went for it with a long pass to Caden Smith.
Yeah, Caden Smith is the go-to guy for a long pass like that, so we could very well see something very similar here, as it's probably drawn up as what they saw last week.
4th down 4. Smith is to the right side, 2 receivers left on 4th and 4, and penalty marker, does it fly or not? Kaysen throwing it into triple coverage for Smith, and he caught the ball at the 5. He drags 2 men with him to the 2-yard line. There was no flag on that play after all, even though there was a lot of movement in the line, and Caden Smith, another big 4th down reception.
Wow, and we kind of predicted it because he's the go-to guy in a situation like that. They tried to draw the offsides on the defense, and the defense budged. They moved forward, but I guess it wasn't enough, so the line of the offense didn't move, so Kaysen had no time to get that throw off, yet he gets off a beautiful throw to Caden Smith. Caden Smith brings it down, and I think there was triple coverage there on him because they knew he's their guy to make a play that on that much pressure, and sure enough, Caden Smith comes up with the ball because you know what? That's what Caden Smith does.
Well, let's recap where we've been so far as we're nearing the end of the very eventful first quarter. Marauders threatening to score their 3rd touchdown with a 1st and goal now. 1:46 to go in our first quarter. 14-7 Farmers. The Farmers on their first possession, on their very first play, threw a bomb to Tyrell Shavers, and the 46-yard strike put them up 7-0. On the next possession, it was a long 75-yard drive by the Marcus Marauders. They scored on a 24-yard run by Nate Hopkins. After they recovered the kickoff on a really strange play, C.J. Respis capped a 20-yard 5-play drive with a 5-yard run, and that made it 14-7. Now, Caden Smith has caught a long pass again to set up Marcus at the 2-yard line. So far tonight, just in the first quarter, Caden Smith, 5 catches for 82 yards.
Caden Smith, unbelievable athlete, an unbelievable player, and you always have faith in that guy to make a big play when you need it. But we got to hand it to Mitch Kaysen on that one because his offensive line, once again, they didn't move, Cecil. They thought they were going to draw the offside, so he had no help.
Handoff to Hopkins, starts right, goes left, barrels into the end zone, but there is a flag down, so no play. Illegal procedure called against the Marcus Marauders, another one of those pre-snap penalties.
Yeah, that's unfortunate, but I think you still have a good chance of getting into the end zone here with your ground game. Not where you want to take a penalty. Penalties were an issue for the Marauders last week. I think something that Coach Stanford really wanted to clean up on.
3rd penalty for 15 yards now against the Marcus Marauders. Hopefully this one will not be costly for them. Looks like Fitzgerald is in there on offense playing tight end, and they'll run behind him as Hopkins makes a move in the backfield and wiggles down to about the 3-yard line, rather the 4-yard line, a 3-yard gain. Hunter in on the stop for Louisville.
Louisville, excellent job there in knowing that they were going to go to the ground and making sure that they had all the holes filled, because if you give them an inch, they're going to take a mile as far as the Marauders running backs go.
Yeah, the defensive end, Andrew Fitzgerald, playing on offense. This is the first time I've seen him out there on offense so far this year. Hawkins Taylor, a defensive tackle, is in there as well, and they are in front of Hopkins this time on the right side of the line, and they fake and throw it out. It is to Fitzgerald. Kaysen hits Fitzgerald for the touchdown, and it's 20-7.
And Fitzgerald just ecstatic right now as he gets in for 2 plays and is able to bring up a touchdown due to a pass from Kaysen.
What a surprise. A 4-yard strike for the touchdown. And so the Marcus Marauders go 9 plays to score that time. They're in the swinging gate formation, and it looks like they're going to run out of it this time. The pass is going to go into the end zone for Caden Smith. It's too high. The pass being delivered that time by Andrew Parrish. We have a penalty marker down. Was that in the end zone? Is it pass interference?
Pass interference for sure there, as he had a defender all over him. Can't see who it is exactly. Looks like number 9, Cortez Thomas.
Well, that was the only hope for Cortez Thomas. He's the one giving up 9 inches to Caden Smith. He was trying to yank him back down as Smith went up for the ball. Smith could only get one hand up. After that play, the attempt by Parrish, the Marauders have decided to go ahead and kick the extra point now without the swinging gate formation. Albright will hold. Jeremy Hood to snap for Matthew Cunningham.
Cunningham came into this game not as the starter. John Mayers went down in the first quarter. We have not seen anything from him yet as Cunningham steps up and looking for his 3rd extra point of the night.
And here's the snap back. A diving attempt by one of the men, but Louisville cannot block it. The kick goes through, and our new score, Marcus 21 and Louisville 7. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio. Your home for championship social media.
Still 1 minute and 2 seconds remaining in our first quarter, and our score is Marcus 21 and Louisville 7. That drive, 70 yards in 9 plays. The big play of the drive was the pass to Caden Smith for 33 yards that set up a 1st and goal, and from there the Marauders tossed it to their star defensive end, Andrew Fitzgerald, in on offense for his first reception of the season, and they go up 21-7.
Yeah, and the Marauders took an illegal formation penalty there when they were on the 5 after that big pass by Caden Smith and were brought back. But fortunately, that didn't stop them from being able to notch up 7 more points on the scoreboard.
Here's the kickoff from Cunningham. This one he pops up very short. It's a fair catch called at the 32-yard line by one of the up men. And I believe that may have been Logan Franklin who caught that one.
They're being extra careful on those kickoffs now as to what had happened earlier when none of them decided to pick up the ball, and Jop was able to get in there and get the ball back in a 40-yard onside kick, we'll call it. A lot more cautious this time from the Farmers as they bring the offense back out to try and bring this game within a touchdown.
Well, since that opening touchdown, only 5 more yards for Louisville, but they haven't had the ball very much. The ball has been in the Marauders' hands almost the entire first quarter, aside from the long strike for the touchdown. Bob is going to hand off this time. No, actually, he keeps it and bounces outside. He's run down from behind. A nice play that time by a diving man. I believe that was that Morris? Dylan Holcomb. Leading tackler on the team, Dylan Holcomb, crashed in there, let him get away for a moment, and then made the tackle.
Yeah, Dylan Holcomb, a safety, 6'3", 188-pound senior, saw that the ball was not going in the air, so quickly hurried to where the ball was going, and that was to the right side of Bob and able to bring him down as he kept the ball.
Maybe one more snap here in the first quarter as we wind down towards the 22nd mark before this play. And from the pistol formation, Bob will take it and will fake. He's looking to throw it over the middle. It's complete. Up near midfield. Tackle it immediately by Elijah Jopp. But the pass that time went to, I believe that was Robert Benson, the wide receiver. And so Benson catches it. Clock will stop momentarily at least with 12 seconds to go in the quarter.
Yeah, Jopp played him just a bit too deep there and gave him enough room to be able to curl out. He started off to the left side, ran a straight line, and then curled on the inside to the right to catch the ball.
And that's the end of our first quarter. Wow, what a first quarter. 21-7 Marcus over Louisville in the battle for the Axe. Stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
Stay up on all.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Try to throw out some first quarter stats to you here on Marcus Marauders football pretty quickly. After the first quarter, Marcus has 10 first downs compared to 1 for Louisville. Make that 2 after that last play, netted a first down. And then also, well, I tell you what, we'll get some of those other stats in just a moment. So here is Louisville from the midfield stripe, and the handoff goes straight up the middle. I believe that's McGee on that carry. And he gets just into Marcus territory at the 29-yard line. Tackle made by Andrew Fitzgerald, who, of course, is doing it all tonight.
That's a usual occurrence. I mean, not to say that this defense all around is just excellent, but Andrew Fitzgerald, one of the standouts, was a defensive newcomer of the year as a sophomore, has 35 offers from colleges but has not yet committed.
In the first quarter, 2 first downs, 70 total yards for Louisville, 11 rushing, 59 passing. Marcus, 9 first downs, 110 rushing, 93 passing for a total of 203. Bob fakes a throw, evades Fitzgerald crashing into the backfield and scrambles for a couple of yards down to the 47 in Marcus territory. A couple of men on that tackle included Reed Oakes, the backup defensive tackle, helping out.
Yeah, Reed Oakes stepping in there, the 6'2", 265-pound senior, backing up B.J. Copeland, able to get in there and realize quickly that Bob was not going to be giving the ball off. And as we saw Bob do later in the first quarter, he likes to take it himself sometimes.
That brings about a 3rd and 7 situation. Farmers trailing by 14, but they are in Marcus territory at the 47-yard line. Bob in the pistol. And he's going to drive back straight to throw, wings it out to the right side, complete but hit very quickly by Elijah Jopp, and that was taken by Kenry Newton. And there's a penalty marker down. That may have been a helmet-to-helmet call.
Either a helmet-to-helmet call or some sort of trash talking, is because there was a pretty late flag, Cecil, as both players were walking away when the flag was thrown.
It's dead ball, so that's an unsportsmanlike call. There was something extra that happened at the end of that play. So the pass goes for yardage down to the 42-yard line of Marcus, but now a walk-off of 15 yards.
And that's a penalty you can't take, and I'm going to say that's on number 1, Jot, because he was right in the middle of it. Coach Stanford won't stand for that, and you know, in a game like this where everything's kind of on the line and it's district play, that you can't be taking those kinds of penalties.
Was a big hit by Jopp, though. We got to say he's had the most total tackles of unassisted plus assists of any player on the team. Bob runs the option right side, finds a little alley across the 25 down to the 24-yard line before the second wave of defenders gets him. I think the linebacker core there was part of it, along with Dylan Holcomb.
Yeah, Holcomb able to establish early that Bob was going to take it himself, and like I mentioned a couple minutes ago, Bob, not afraid to take it himself, not afraid of being hit, and we saw Holcomb lay a pretty big one on there.
Last week, Bob ran for 140 yards. So far tonight, his total is, I'm not sure. I got to check on that. Get back with you on that in a moment. So here's a handoff around the right side this time, and Hawkins Taylor is able to stop I believe that was the backup, Tavion Hartland, who came into the game for the first time tonight.
You know, and I got to say, Aubryon Bob really reminds me of a Trayvon Boykin type quarterback, the TCU quarterback, of course, as he's not afraid to just take the snap and go, right? Don't hesitate, just go, run, and do it fearlessly.
So Louisville with a great threat now at the 20-yard line and a 3rd down 1. Marcus is bunched up tightly at the line. Bob fumbles the ball when faking in the backfield, and he's going to be ridden down. I believe that was Job coming up to make the tackle at the 25-yard line. So just a bump, and Hankins and Job in on the tackle. So that's a big play right there. 4th down 6 coming.
Yeah, Bob lined up under center, which, you know, I've been watching high school football for quite some time, and it's very rare you see a team line up under center as much as the Farmers have tonight. But you know what? That's something that's worked for them, and it worked for them last week when they put the stomping on Richland. But that time, Bob just didn't have enough time and had to scramble.
So here we go, a 4th down 5. Big play for the Marcus defense. Louisville at the 25 of Marcus. Bob is going to roll out left side. He gets hit just as he throws. Wings it deep for Shavers, who makes a move to catch it at the 5 and leans into the end zone for the touchdown, despite the best efforts of, I believe, Cameron Hupford there. What a play by Bob as he comes off the field. A little rattled, but happy as they hit a touchdown for their 2nd touchdown of the night.
And once again, I think that touchdown notches over the 13-yard mark that they like to abide by when scoring their touchdowns.
Yes, exactly. What is it about that? That is just a crazy statistic that all 10 of their touchdowns now have come from 13 yards or more. And this is a strike of 25 yards for the score. And after a fake at the swinging gate play, Cunningham is going to kick. But we have a timeout called by Louisville. So that drive was a nice one that Louisville started back at their own 32-yard line, and they go 68 yards.
Yeah, the Marauders are going to have to adjust their cornerback situation and their safety situation to add more coverage, because the way that the Farmers move the ball down the field, they're going to run it all the entire drive, and then that one play they need to get a long pass is what usually helps them score. And like we talked about, they like to get the touchdowns from outside of 13 yards, and they've yet to score a touchdown inside of 13 yards. So you got to expect that they're going to pass the ball and not necessarily rely on the run to get those touchdowns.
8:18 to go in the 2nd quarter. During our halftime show, we're going to run down the highlights from the first half, and there are plenty of them as we're recording them and marking down what all has happened. Lots of fireworks here early on, as this is the 5th touchdown from the teams combined. Nice play by Shavers that time on a pass that lingered in the air as Bob was hit as he threw. Hupfer had the coverage thinking it was going to go deeper. Now it looks like they're going to go for 2. That's what the timeout was about. 21-13. Let's see what happens on this. Bob rolls out. He throws it into the end zone. It's picked off, and going the other direction is one of the Marauders who was able to intercept the football, and that was Dylan Holcomb. Holcomb stops it, but he's only able to get out to the 10-yard line.
Holcomb gets that one right at the pylon after the throw from Bob. No chance. Bob was looking into triple coverage there, and Holcomb comes up to it and gets a couple yards before being pushed out.
Let's take a break. 21-13, Marcus over Louisville. We'll have more Marcus Marauders football in a moment.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute, online at gdyo.org/jazz.
The battle for the axe from Max Goldsmith Stadium. Cecil Taylor and Ryan Medlin with you. Thanks for joining us on this Friday night in the District 6-6A opener for both teams. At halftime, we'll run down some of the scores going on in 6-6A and around the area.
Tell you what, it's been a crazy night. Just peeking at these scores right now for 6-6A. We'll go into a little bit more detail like you said, coming up at the halftime, the wind once again pushes the ball off the tee. Still a strong wind tonight, and this poor kicker for Louisville just having all the trouble in the world keeping it still.
Senior kicker Matt McDonald getting some advice now from the officials, and they make him have somebody hold it on to the tee.
That's going to upset him a little bit. Kickers, they like to have their own little strategy and along the way of doing things. Like last week we saw the towel. This week we're going to have a holder to keep that ball down.
Kicking into the wind. Wait a minute. We have another stoppage of play. A fair catch called, but a legal procedure penalty against Marcus. No, I'm sorry, against Louisville is called, against Louisville. And so that play doesn't even come off.
Yeah, and, the kickoffs have just been weird tonight, Cecil. Every kickoff brings some sort of new challenge or new controversy, and we've only had a couple clean ones, and it's just been very weird as far as the kickoffs go.
I think one thing that's affecting the game now that we should mention is that the wind has shifted since the start of the game, and it's coming very strong for the north. That's why the kickoffs towards the north have been short. This last one was short. That's why the pass to Shavers held up in part, although part of it was because Bob was hit just as he threw. But this is what's affecting the game now, is that cool front coming in that's going to bring temperatures down into the 60s tomorrow morning, which will be nice for a morning walk. Here comes the kickoff.
Can't wait for that. I'll tell you that right now.
He puts his foot into that one, but it's going to hold up in the wind and come down at the 21-yard line to Jake Nelson. Of course, it's from the right side to the left and mainly runs in parallel, only gets to the 29-yard line before he's knocked off his feet. So 8:11 to go until halftime, 21-13 Marcus.
Yeah, ran into his blocker there. His blocker had somebody held up, and they had shifted right when he was making a move, and ran right into him and was brought down. And now the Marauder offense looking to extend their touchdown lead in this one. And, the way things have gone so far, I wouldn't put it past them to be quickly moving the ball down the field on the ground.
Marauders have moved the ball well so far tonight. Just over 200 yards in the first quarter. This is their first snap of the second quarter from their own 29-yard line. Kaysen of Respus starts right, goes left, and he's ridden down by Shaq Miller coming up from the secondary to make the stop just across the 30, about the 32-yard line, short gain of 3.
Two names you'll be hearing a lot of tonight, Shaq Miller and Andrew Fitzgerald, as far as the defense goes for both these teams.
Second down, 7. 2 receivers to the wide side of the field. That's the right side for Mitch Kaysen and the Marcus Marauders. Respus and Hopkins in the backfield. Throwing it out to the right side. Albright takes it. 2 men on him immediately, and he's going to be ridden down and driven back. And that was Cortez Thomas, the first of many who arrived. And it'll be a third down coming.
Yeah, and, this is, we've seen this at the beginning of the game for the Marauder offense. The defense of the Farmers just really kind of taking it to them. It'll be interesting to see how the Marauders can bounce back from these quick through plays and hopefully not go 4 and out here.
Kaysen now 9 of 10 for 94 yards and a touchdown, and that is Albright's third reception, all of them short for a total of 8 yards. Third down 6 from the Marcus 33-yard line. Leading by 8, that 14-point lead was sliced almost in half. They're trying to build some momentum back up after that Louisville drive. Kaysen looks left on third down. Good protection. Completed pass to Smith, and he spins and fights his way up to the 47-yard line. Gained an extra 3 or 4 yards with 3 players hanging on him, including the middle linebacker, Kalen Foser.
Yeah, and he had some help from DeKevion Brown there as they're able to get the first down. And, I had said that hopefully we'll not go 4 and out. Usually it's 3 and out, but the way this game has gone, these teams like to go for the go for it on fourth down, so I decided to change it up a little bit.
Caden Smith already 6 catches, 96 yards, make it 7 catches. He breaks a tackle at the 50, down the boundary at the 40, the 30, he's running away, the 20, the 10. That's a touchdown for Caden Smith, and for Caden Smith, it's his 5th touchdown reception of the season.
Wow, Caden Smith, just an all-star tonight. And, we're sitting right next to the coaches are in the next room for us for the Marcus Marauders, and you can feel the press box shaking as that one happened. As soon as Caden Smith brought that ball down, he had a clear view of the touchdown and never looked back on that one.
53 yards on that play for Caden Smith, and now they'll go for the extra point attempt. First the swinging gate, now they'll bring on Cunningham for the 1-point try. Smith, a 53-yard pass play. Wow, and that winds up being a 71-yard drive and 4 plays.
And like I said, on third down, the Marauders seem to thrive as they're able to.
And on the attempt, somehow there's a bobbled snap. Albright has to run with it, and he is not able to get into the end zone. And so that will stop things right there. So here we are with 6:34 to go until halftime. Marauders and Farmers have both missed their last extra points, and now our new score is 27-13, Marcus over Louisville. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more Marcus Marauders football.
Do you need a boost in exposure? Want to reach local community-minded folks with information about your business? Join the team and advertise during these games. Advertising during high school broadcasts allows your business to reach thousands of local fans right from your community. We use the latest technology in sports broadcasting so that fans at the game will be able to listen live to the broadcast and the commercials. It's also a way for your business to give back to the community by helping all of these well-deserving student athletes get some recognition for their accomplishments. The cost simply cannot be beat for the effect it will have. You get a lot of bang for your buck. And best of all, it provides an opportunity for the best advertisement of all, word of mouth. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334 or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
That 53-yard pass play did not take advantage of the wind. Caden Smith caught a short pass and then was able to break a couple of tackles and soar down the sideline for a touchdown that brings it back to a 14-point advantage for the Marcus Marauders. Here's the kickoff now from Cunningham, and this is a strong one down to the 2-yard line. It's fumbled by Newton, and people are all over him there, but he strikes free, 10-yard line. There's a penalty marker down out at the 20-yard line. Looks like a block in the back is going to bring this way back inside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, that's the best guess right now is the block in the back as the flag was way behind the play. For the Farmers, Newton got the ball and for some reason just slipped right through his fingers, and he had to fumble around his feet a little bit before picking that ball up.
So, again, it is a penalty on the receiving team, a blocking violation, block in the back. Pretty clear, actually, that that's what it was, right near the ball carrier. So they're going to walk it back inside the 10-yard line to the 6.
It's really unfortunate there. I mean, about the 6 is where Newton fumbled the ball, and he was able to muster up a good 10, 15 yards before being brought down and give his team a chance at good field position, but that penalty brought him right back.
So snapping it from their own 6-yard line, Bob looks like he's going to go under center, not risk the pistol or shotgun snap. Marcus has all 11 players within about 8 yards of the line of scrimmage as they see a tight formation. Trap play, runs up the middle. Nice blocking that time by Louisville across the 10 to the 11-yard line. That looked like McGee on the carry.
Indeed was McGee. You know, it's very rare we see high school teams lining up under center, and especially with the strength of the defense of the Marauders, it takes some true courage to do that against them for the Farmers.
6 minutes exactly to go until halftime. 27-13 Marcus in a fireworks-filled first half. Bob is back in the pistol now that they're outside of the 10-yard line. Shaver's in motion from the left side of the formation to the right side. Bob's going to hand off to McGee again, and a nice solid tackle put on him by the second wave of the defense. And that looked like that was that Gambino? Gambino made that tackle, I believe.
Yeah, Gambino, he's also one of the stronger defenders for the Marcus Marauders. Look for him to be pretty active now once he's kind of started to get things going. You know, usually takes a couple tackles to kind of get your momentum and up, and, you know, Gambino looks like he's got that there, so I expect him to start doing some big things for the Marauder defense.
5th tackle for him this season. So a 3rd down 3. Louisville at their own 13-yard line. 4 down linemen for Marcus. They're pulled back. No blitz look on this play. Bob is going to give on a counter play, and this is swallowed up in the backfield. Fitzgerald was not fooled, and neither was anybody else, as it looked like he was also joined by Reed Oakes on that play.
Yeah, Reed Oakes getting in there, and he's had a couple reps this game, and almost a turnover there for the Marauders. That's going to bring out the punt squad for the Farmers, and punter is going to be having to take this one from the end zone.
3-yard loss back to the 10-yard line, and McDonald stands in his own end zone. Nelson is at the Marcus 40-yard line. So you would expect the Marauders, they're pulling him up to about the 35. The coaches signal him, get on up there further. You would expect good field position out of this, kick into the wind with 4:19 to go until halftime. Not much pressure. It's a short punt that's going to bound at the 30-yard line, and it's going to roll dead at about the 34, where it stopped, picked up there by Kalen Fosher on the special teams. So 1st and 10, Marcus with great field position at the Louisville 34.
And they can account some of that to the wind. It's just so hard to get something down the field going north because of the strong wind, and really just not a good scenario for the kickers or punters tonight. Unless you're going south.
Yeah. Marcus Marauders piling up the yardage on Louisville and the points. 274 yards in the first half and 27 points. They lead by 14. Respas has had a great night so far, as he's carried for 76 yards on only 9 carries. They fake it to him this time, and the pass goes deep, looking into the end zone, and it just goes off the fingertips of the intended receiver, who runs all the way into the stands there. I believe that was Michael Davis who was in that time, and just unable to hold it at the back of the end zone. A great effort. At the Louisville Max Goldsmith Stadium, there's bleachers behind the end zones where the bands sit, and he went right tumbling into it and will come out of the ball game now. He's fine, but wow, what a play.
Yeah, he's walking a little slow. I mean, he went up a good 4 or 5 stories of those stands behind the end zone. You'd think they could push those a little bit further back due to the...
Yeah, quick pass left side, and Albright fights his way for a first down inside the 25 down to about the 21-yard line. So they got going with a quick start that time and a first down.
Due to their proximity to the field, as well as I was going to say there before they got that play off really quick. Marcus wasting no time to get the ball down the field with 4 minutes left in the first half.
We see Spencer Coffey, or I think that's Coffey, or is that Friedewald? That's Friedewald in the lineup. Sorry. The handoff goes to Respas, and he pushes hard off right guard, and now 4 Farmers push him backwards. A little frustration there in this rivalry game as he goes tumbling down after a gain of 2 yards. They pushed him way back to the 30-yard line.
Modric Pelican kept pushing him despite the whistle blowing. He was going to wait till he got him down on the ground, which he eventually did. A little pushing and shoving afterwards, but nothing to get too upset about.
A 2nd down and 8 now at the 19-yard line. 2nd down 7 at the 19, as the prior spot was at the 22. Hopkins is still in there. Respas is checked out. Hopkins moves from Kaysen's right to left. He fakes short on that little screen, now decides to scramble down the boundary and out of bounds at about the 17-yard line. And this is the thing I was talking about last week that Mitch Kaysen does very well on these negative plays. He knows when to give up. He knows when the play isn't going to work. And this time he scrambles for about 2 or 3 yards.
Yeah, you know, Marcus has a very low turnover rate, and there's a good reason for that. It's because Kaysen's a smart quarterback. He knows when to push things and when not to, and that was a good example of where he realized he had nothing, so he's just going to take it himself, try and get a couple yards before getting out of bounds.
He's the only one in the backfield on 3rd down 7. Big play for the Marauders, trying to add to their 27-13 lead. They're at the Louisville 17-yard line. The line to gain is about the 12. The throw is going to go over to the side, and it is incomplete. Looked like he was trying to reach Jake Nelson over there, and the pass was just a little short on the comeback route. Both he and the defender went down to the ground and couldn't come up with it, so it's 4th down now, and it looks like Marcus is going to go for it.
Yeah, they're not going to be shy about it. They've been doing this all game. Why not go for it and see if you can really improve your conversion rate.
4th down 6 at the 17-yard line. Kaysen turns, looks to the sideline. Play call is changed. He comes up and tells the line on this 4th down. Hopkins switches formation from the right to the left side, and now Marcus is going to call timeout. Just things were breaking down, and let's take a timeout as well with our score, 27-13 Marcus. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShopboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
And coming back now, Marcus runs up to the line after the timeout. They have Caden Smith split wide to the left. Let's see if he's the intended receiver on fourth down. The pass goes to the right side instead, and a mix-up between Kaysen and Parrish. Parrish stopped the route. The pass went deeper, and it falls incomplete. Louisville's defense is held with 2:58 to go till halftime.
Just seemed like some confusion there from the receivers and Mitch Kaysen as he went to the somewhat middle of the right side of the field, but his intended receiver, it looked like number 5, Matt Hankins, I believe, kind of just went on a straighter route and didn't curl to the left or turn to the left like he expected him to.
Yeah, I think it was Parrish in on that play, and somehow the connection between the current quarterback and the former quarterback didn't work, and so here we go. Louisville in their own end of the field at the 17-yard line on first down. Man in motion. Stretch handoff this time to the other back who has come in there, and that's Tavion Harlan, who had a 60-yard touchdown run last week.
Real quick.
Not much yardage, by the way. Sorry, just a gain of 1. Not much yardage.
Oh, you're fine. And you know what? They're trying to establish the ground game, maybe kind of get the clock rolling, because I think they want to get to the locker room and kind of maybe just reevaluate and talk over some things. You'd love to get down the field here, but you're going to get the ball in the second half. So you know what? Maybe get back to the locker room and kind of just start fresh next half.
Marcus has 2 timeouts, so if they play good defense, they might have a chance to make a play here at the end of the half. Louisville taking their time as the clock rolls at 2:20 and counting in the first half, trailing by 14. Bob is going to fake, now keep it himself, wins his way through the middle of the line. Cameron Hupfer is going to make the tackle along with Elijah Jopp near the first down across the 25 to the 26 of Louisville, a gain of about 8.
Bob, once again, not shying away from just taking the ball himself and trying to get it done himself. He's going to need to rely on his teammates a bit more, though, in order not to wear himself out too quickly, because there's still a lot of football left to be played.
If Marcus wants a chance to score before the half, they need to stop Louisville on this 3rd down 1 situation. Ball just outside the 26-yard line, I formation, and that is McGee back in there. He's the bigger back, and he's the tailback in the I formation. Handoff goes to the up back, and it's not going anywhere, and that was a nice play. I'm trying to see at the bottom of it. That was B.J. Copeland. Copeland shot the gap, and he was able to hit the back, Josh Adebayo, in the backfield for a loss of 1.
Yeah, B.J. Copeland, really good job there of seeing where the ball was headed and getting there as quick as possible and filling that hole, and then eventually getting some help from the rest of his guys on the defensive line.
So a 4th down, and Marcus has called timeout with 1:22 to go. They could have a chance to come back down. Here's the setting, because it could be a short punt again. The last punt was only 24 yards, kicking into a stiff north wind that's coming in with this cold front. Marcus, you would think, would get the ball around midfield or better and have time, 1:22, plus a timeout to try to get down and score.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they play this here, because you have the lead, a quite substantial lead, but, it never hurts to put another score up, and it looks like they are going to punt it here, the Farmers, and, this punt will probably only make it out to about the 50, if that, due to this wind.
McDonald standing back at his own 10-yard line. Nelson in his own end of the field at the 45. Not much of a rush. He's going to get a line drive punt off. Nelson's going to take it, bobbles it at midfield, and breaks past the first wave And that is not Nelson that time. I believe that was Ridge Rogers, actually. Ridge Rogers took it and went across the 45 down to the 44-yard line. Logan Franklin, the sophomore do-everything for the Louisville Farmers, made the tackle. So spotted at the 44 in Louisville territory with 1:16 to go.
So, Cecil, if you're Marcus right now, do you play conservative or do you go for the score?
I think you go for the score in a game like this.
I'd say the same thing, but you got to be careful here with a minute left. You don't want to give the ball over to Louisville with the turnover and give them a chance to get another one here. I don't know. If I'm Marcus, I'm taking this score the way it is into the half. Let's see what happens. Case in the quarterback. He's looking to throw. He's throwing a deep intermediate route for about 10 yards. They'll go for about 9, and I think that was Caden Smith with a leaping catch near the first down at the 35-yard line. So a pickup of 9 very quickly. Yeah, Marcus moving very quickly. You know they're going for the score now. They're trying to get down there, and they're trying to pad this lead before heading into the locker room. Kaysen looks and throws it way over the head of the intended receiver, Albright. They were trying to connect for the 5th time tonight, but that pass sailed on him and went incomplete. We've been seeing the screen pass all night from Kaysen. He's been able to land the first couple ones. That one goes about 2 or 3 feet over Albright's head as he had a defender on him pretty quickly too. That last reception a moment ago by Smith was his 8th for 158 yards in the first half alone. Let's see if they go with the run on 3rd down short, trying to get this first down. Respis is the back. He's had a nice first half, but he's going to block as Kaysen looks to throw. He's looking deep for Smith. There's a collision, and I believe this penalty is going to go against Louisville as Smith was impeded from getting to the football. Yeah, he bumped right into the cornerback or the safety there from the Farmers, and the official immediately throwing his flag, signaling the pass interference, and that's going to move the ball up 15 yards to get the first down. Wait a minute. This one's going against Smith. Smith looked to me like he was legitimately just going for the football, and the other man stopped and got in his way and impeded his progress. That's what I saw, too. I don't agree with that call. The officials have been doing great all game, but that one was a bit iffy because you're right. Caden Smith was just going with his forward progress to the ball, and the defender stopped right in his tracks and just bumped him and took him to the ground. Well, that makes a huge difference now as the ball is walked back all the way to midfield on the 15-yard penalty against the Marauders. Now maybe you play it a little conservatively on this 3rd down 16. Line to gain is the 34 of Louisville. Kaysen with Respis protecting him. Blitz look coming. They pick it up, throw it over the middle. It's almost intercepted, then almost caught. It bounced off the hands of one man and almost into the hands of Smith. Looked like that was the deep back that time. Was that Matthew Kibbe who was in on that, who had it, and it bounced off his hands, and then Smith made a diving attempt, but that brings about 4th down. Yeah, and now the Louisville Farmers are going to get the ball again, and this kind of worries me a little bit because we know they like to score from long distances, so you better believe they're going to try again here and put something on the board before going to the locker room. We'll see if they try that into the wind with 40 seconds left in the half, though, and only one timeout. They don't have much time to work with unless they come after this punt and make something happen. Remember, the backup punter is in now. No pressure on him. Line drive punt, it's going to bound at the 20, inside the 20, inside the 10. It's going to roll all the way to the end zone that time. Backup punter is, believe it or not, the defensive end, Jonathan Baudet, and he gets this rolling punt. It goes 25 yards in the air and 25 yards on the ground, and it's a touchback with 32 seconds to go in the half. Yeah, that ball started rolling, and Ridge Rogers of the Marcus Marauders tried to catch up to it and maybe stop it on the 5 or less, but that ball was just rolling too quickly to even try and make a play on it. Stick around for our halftime show as we'll cover the highlights and the statistics from the first half, and we'll also review the scoreboard. Lots of big games going on this opening night of action in District 6-6A. The gauntlet, that is 6-6A for sure. So from their own 20-yard line, Shavers in motion left to right. Now he stops. Bob is going to hand off to the deep back. I believe that's McGee, who has popped pretty hard and then falls forward for a couple of yards, and that should just about do it for this half. Yeah, it doesn't look like they're going to try anything special, letting the clock run here. They have that timeout, but they're not going to use it. They don't carry over into the next half, unfortunately for the Farmers. They're going to burn it, and that clock's going to tick down before they probably even get a playoff here with about 5 seconds to go. No big rush as they break the huddle, line up. 3,
2, 1. That's the end of the half. If you like scoring, we've had it. If you like big plays, we've had those too. It's Marcus 27 and Louisville 13. This is Marcus Marauders football. Stick around. We'll be back in a few moments with our halftime show. You're listening to Marcus Marauders football on Champion Sports Radio.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org. This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
Shell experts here with a pitching machine and a shield to demonstrate the importance of protecting your engine.
Think of me as an engine. The Shield is new Shell gasoline with 20% more nitrogen and rich cleaning agents than before.
And the baseballs are gunk that attack intake valves and fuel injectors.
Come on, gunk, is that all you got?
Gunk is out of here.
New Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. No other gasoline protects your engine better.
For quality auto service and repair, see the folks at Flat Shell on Preston Road at I-635.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
Are you looking for a way to promote your business or increase exposure? Do you just need more people to know that you're there? Join the Champion Sports Radio team and advertise during these games. In the last 4 years, Champion Sports Radio has broadcast over 600 games to more than 3.5 million listeners. And Champion Sports Radio wants to help you use major high school sports to reach thousands of local fans right in your community. Think about it. Die-hard fans just like you tune in each and every week, giving your business unparalleled access to the community. It's the perfect way for smaller individually owned businesses to cultivate a core clientele or expand their already loyal customer base. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334 or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcast.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow at Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/championsportsradio and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter at Champion Sports and facebook.com/championsportsradio. your home for championship social media.
And it's halftime between Marcus and Louisville in the battle for the Axe. Louisville took an early 7-0 lead, but since then, Marcus has dominated with a 27-6 burst, and now they lead 27-13 at the half. Let's look at some of the stats from the first half. First downs, Marcus with 13 and Louisville with 3. Marcus has 118 rushing yards, 182 passing for an even 300 yards in the first half. The Farmers with 31 rushing yards, 87 passing, and a total of 118. One thing that has hampered Marcus is penalties, 5 penalties for 45 yards. Louisville, 2 penalties for 11 yards. We've had no turnovers, although we did have that kickoff that became somewhat of an onside kick, and the ball went back to Marcus on that. Individually tonight for the Marcus Marauders, the leading ball carrier is C.J. Respis, 10 carries, 79 yards, and a touchdown to lead the way. Nate Hopkins has been used sparingly for him after 159 yards last week. This week, 5 carries, 41 yards. He came into the game with 200 yards even on the season. He does have a rushing touchdown, though, a 24-yarder that we'll hear on the highlights later on in halftime. Mitch Kaysen has completed 13 of 19 passes for 182 yards and 2 touchdowns. His favorite target has been Caden Smith, 8 catches for 158 yards. Albright has caught 4 for 20. On the other side of the football, the leading rusher so far is Aubrey and Bob, and he has carried 5 times for 16 yards, 6 carries for 11 yards for McGee, and 2 carries for 4 yards for Harlan. And coming into the game, Harlan is one of the people that Coach Jerry Stanford identified to me that they were worried about that might be able to make a big difference in the game. But so far tonight, he's seen limited duty and only 2 carries for 4 yards. Bob has 4 passes for 4 of 5 passing, for 87 yards, 2 touchdowns, both those to Shavers, 2 catches, 71 yards tonight, and they have both gone for scores. So that's the way that looks at this point, the stats from the first half here on our Shockbox DFW halftime show. Let's take a moment and listen to the Marcus Marching Band. Marauders Marching Band. And let's take a break. This is the Shockbox DFW halftime show. We'll be back with the scoreboard updates when Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores. 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute, online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShopboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
Welcome back to Max Goldsmith Stadium as we are keeping on the Shockbox DFW halftime show. Ryan Medlin alongside Cecil Taylor. And you know what? On a night where the Friday night lights have been illuminated all across the state of Texas, we're at the beginning of district play. We're going to take a quick short look around the scoreboard while the Farmerettes do their routine down on the field. Excellent routine at that. The LSD band also getting ready to come out as well. The LISD band. They march with pride is their slogan, and you know that they do on a night is remembered as 9/11. I got to hand it to the Louisville Independent School District for the tribute they put on at the beginning of the game. But let's move on to the look around the scoreboard as Plano is taking on Hebron. Thomas Lee of Champion Sports on the call for that one with Ryan. Plano currently leading 21-14 in the second quarter. That game has been pretty close throughout. Look for Plano to have a big second half here as they come out of get ready to come out of the locker room for the second half. Plano definitely not necessarily the underdog in that one as Hebron tries to hold on and hopefully upset the Wildcats. Plano East taking on Flower Mound. Plano East, one of the schools that Coach Stanford says is one of the teams to expect to be coming out as a dark horse. They're taking on Flower Mound tonight. Cody Barfnick and Eli Jordan on the call for that one for Champion Sports. And Plano East currently leading 21-7 in the third quarter. That game just rolling right along, at a pretty quick pace, as they roll on through the third quarter. McKinney Boyd taking on Allen. And Allen got off to an early lead in that one. In the first quarter, we're up 21-0. And a lot like this game, expect that one to have some pretty high scores. As far as the Eagles go, McKinney Boyd just trying to hang on. They currently sit in the red zone right now while the second quarter is about to come to an end. Looking to try and put some points on the board and go into the locker room with some hopes of maybe coming back and creating an upset for the Eagles. District 6A, obviously no easy task to play any team there, and every night for these teams is a struggle as far as who you're going to face, and there's really not a night where you can take a night off, because if you do, you're going to end up with a loss and further and further away from a playoff berth. Out of all the districts you've seen across the nation, District 6A of Texas high school football seems to be the one that stands alone at the top as far as difficulty. I mean, every night you're going out there against kids who have offers from D1 schools and kids who make national headlines as far as their talent and their ability to play football goes. And I think Coach Stanford of the Marcus Marauders has really seen that throughout. And with his experience of coaching, he realizes that his team's going to have to come out every night and do what they do best in order to be successful. And we've seen that here so far as they lead the Farmers 27-13 as the Farmer Band continues to do their march along outside the field on this beautiful Texas evening with a looks to be sold-out crowd. I don't see any open spots in the stands, and you would expect nothing less with the 30th annual Battle of the Axe. I have not yet seen the axe. I am told it's quite glorious, and apparently it's a big enough deal to fight for it out here tonight.
Well, nothing really surprising so far in District 6A. The favorites are winning: Marcus, Plano East, and Allen. Let's take a break. You're listening to the Shockbox DFW Halftime Show. It was an eventful first half. We'll have the highlights after this when Marcus Marauders football continues.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the #1 cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
Welcome back into Max Goldsmith Stadium for the 30th annual Battle of the Axe. The Marcus Marauders currently leading 27-13 over the Louisville Farmers in the first game of District 6-6A football for the state of Texas. Obviously, a night that both teams want to win, and I think the Marauders have really showed that in the first half. We had a lot going on in that first half, a lot of interesting things going down, and we're going to go a little recap here. Let's hand it off to Cecil.
Okay, thanks so much. Thanks so much, Ryan. We have, sorry about that. We have a little issue here with the equipment there. Okay, so the first half, as we said, was very eventful, and our first play for Louisville was a touchdown from 46 yards away on a pass from Bob to Shavers. Just one play, one strike. It went up to 7-0, and we were just 2 minutes into the game at that point. But then the Marcus Marauders came back. On their next drive, they rebounded, and one of the big plays of the drive was this play that was a pass attempt from Kaysen to Caden Smith, who was his favorite target in the first half. 1st and 10 from their own 39. Marauders. Kaysen has lots of time, has a man down the side of the field. He'll go up. It's caught. There's a penalty marker down. I think it was interference on the defense. But that was caught that time by Caden Smith. And he's deep inside the 25. The 37-yard pass play set up the Marauders to have a touchdown run come up on just a few plays later from Nate Hopkins.
There by Hopkins, and that's one of the great things about Hopkins is he knows where to find them. There by
under 8 minutes to go, first quarter. Kaysen again in the gun. Run, look. It's going to go to Hopkins for the first time tonight. He breaks the tackle. He's into the secondary. The 10, the 5, touchdown. He sets the ball down in the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Marcus Marauders. The extra point could tie the game. And it did tie the game, and we were at 7-7 at that point. Then we had one of the stranger plays of the first half. On the ensuing kickoff into the win, Matthew Cunningham's kickoff was short and came up in Marcus's hands. Mayers has been really good with his kickoffs. This is a short kick that's going to bounce at the 20-yard line. The Marauders have a chance at it, and I think they have the football. The Marauders have gotten it. And leaping up to make the play is Elijah Jopp. So that set up the Marauders at the 20-yard line of Louisville, a big play there in the first half. And with 5:38 to go then in the half, they capped a 20-yard, 5-play drive with this touchdown run by C.J. Respis. With 123 yards total in the first quarter already, Respis finds a seam, goes past left guard, hit right at the goal line, and he goes in standing up. So the Marauders have taken advantage, and they'll go up 13-7.
Yeah.
And then it was 14-7 after the extra point. So after that, the Marauders were able to assemble another drive that one of their specialties so far this season has been is having those plays where they'll go for it on 4th down from striking distance. And in this case, they went for it from the 35-yard line of Louisville on a 4th down and came up big on this pass to Caden Smith. The defensive end, Andrew Fitzgerald, playing on the defensive. Sorry about that. Actually, we had the pass to Smith. I see that Smith went down to the 2-yard line, and after being pushed back by a penalty, then they were able to set up this touchdown pass to a defensive end and a tight end.
Fitzgerald just ecstatic right now. Fitzgerald.
The defensive end, Andrew Fitzgerald, playing on offense. This is the first time I've seen him out there on offense so far this year. Hawkins Taylor, a defensive tackle, is in there as well. And they are in front of Hopkins this time on the right side of the line. And they fake and throw it out. It is to Fitzgerald. Kaysen hits Fitzgerald for the touchdown, and it's 20-7. So that's the way we ended our first quarter with the score 21-7. And Marcus had recovered from the touchdown with three quick scores of their own to go up 21-7. So then in the second quarter, Louisville responded with another big pass play. They have been a big play team all season, and they came up with their 10th touchdown of more than 13 yards. So here we go, a 4th down 5, big play for the Marcus defense. Louisville at the 25 of Marcus. Bob is going to roll out left side. He gets hit just as he throws, wings it deep for Shavers, who makes a move to catch it at the 5 and leans into the end zone for the touchdown, despite the best efforts of, I believe, Cameron Hupford there. So after going for it on the extra point attempt rather, and missing, it left the score at 21-13 with 8:18 to go in our first half. Marcus was able to recover pretty quickly though, and came back with a big play of their own, a nice pass play of more than 50 yards, big play to Caden Smith. Smith already 6 catches, 96 yards, making 7 catches. He breaks a tackle at the 50, down the boundary at the 40, the 30. He's running away, the 20, the 10. That's a touchdown for Caden Smith, and for Caden Smith, it's his 5th touchdown reception of the season. And after a bobbled snap on the extra point, it left the score 27-13, and that's where we are as we go in at halftime. Well, let's take a break. You're listening to the Shockbox DFW halftime show. It's 27-13, Marcus over Louisville. Marcus Marauders football will continue in just a moment.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores. 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Many heart conditions.
Ready to start the second half here as Marcus leads Louisville 27-13 in the battle for the Axe. Cecil Taylor, Ryan Medlin with you. And Ryan, what are you looking for here in the second half?
I'm looking for a lot of action because that's what we got in the first half, but I'm also looking for the Louisville Farmers to come out blazing, as that first half didn't really go the way they'd liked. You'd think 13 points would be enough to get you through the first half feeling all right, but 27 points put up by the Marauders says otherwise. So look for the Louisville defense to try to make something happen, but their offense is going to come out first, and look for them to try and strike early and probably hit a long pass like we've seen all season.
John Mayers, who was shaken up in the first half, is back in there now to place kick, and he will kick this one off with the wind at his back. And boy, does he really drill that one. It almost lands in the band. So bring it out to the 25-yard line for the start of this half. So again, we're looking for Aubrey and Bob, who hasn't really done a lot of damage on the ground, but he's done pretty well through the air, having those 2 touchdown connections to Tyrell Shavers.
Yeah, and we may see them get a lot more of passes going here in the second half as they try to do a little bit of both, but once you get to the second half of the game, you realize what's working for you and what's not, and I think the Louisville Farmers realize that the pass is working for them and the run not so much, so it'll be interesting to see how the Marauders' backs respond to that.
This time, Denzel Okafor lines up at right tackle. He is not against Fitzgerald, who is at right end on the other side of the Marcus line. Pistol formation on 1st and 10 from their own 25. The give to McGee. No, Bob holds it for a long time, pulls it out, sprints around right in, gets a first down into Marcus territory at the 50, and finally steps out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Looked like he was going to hand it to McGee and was going into the line with him and then yanked it out at the last possible second.
Yeah, and Bob making me almost eat my own words there as I say the run game isn't really working out for him in the first half. Sure enough, in the second half, they come out blazing, and Bob gets a huge run there as he decides to keep it himself, move out to the right side, and get a good 25-yard gain.
So a 1st and 10 in Marcus territory as the Farmers start strong in the second half in their maroon uniforms with white piping and white numerals. From the right hash mark, this time he will give it up the middle to McGee, and Fitzgerald finishes him off with help from Jopp. So maybe 2 yards on that play on the first down. So a 31-yard burst on first down to get into Marcus territory, now a 2-yard gain.
Yeah, Jopp and Fitzgerald saw the hole open up there, and they quickly said no, plugging that up and not allowing the Farmers to go up the middle. I think if the Farmers are going to want to make some progress on the field on the ground, they're going to have to move to the outside like Bob did on the previous play.
Adebayo comes into the lineup, and he is actually the tailback on this play, and McGee comes up close now. He moves over to the side, Adebayo does, to the side of Bob, and Bob is going to fake it to him, go back to throw. He's under pressure. He gets away from one man, but there's too many Marauders there on the blitz, and there's a fumble. It's picked up by Marcus, and going the other direction is Fitzgerald, I believe it is, but it doesn't look like anybody's pursuing, and the referees may have blown the whistle. They're going to say it was down at the 46-yard line, and it is still Louisville's ball. The ball came free late.
Trying to see what Coach Stanford's reaction is on the sidelines here. He's trying to get an explanation from the official what happened there. Doesn't look too upset, just more so confused as Fitzgerald thought he picked up the fumble there and took it all the way down to the end zone. It's always safe to take it to the end zone if you do happen to pick up the ball because you never know what's going to happen. They're trying to get things sorted out here. The ball got tossed back like 30 yards.
Yeah, we have an extra ball on the field back at the Louisville 30 that McGee retrieves and throws out of bounds. The other ball is in place at the Marcus 46-yard line. It's 3rd down 12, just early in the third quarter. Louisville trying to cut into that 14-point Marcus advantage. Bob is in the pistol, standing at midfield. He has Shavers left. Pump fake, looking deep for him, and the ball sails the other direction. He throws it to the right, and it's a touchdown connection to Newton. He throws it down the right sideline and surprises the Marcus defense, who was double-teaming Shavers, and Newton gets behind the secondary for a touchdown of 46 yards.
Yeah, he just blew right by number 5 for the Marauders, Matt Hankins. Hankins just was not able to keep up with him there. An excellent pass by Bob as they sail the ball down the field, and once again, a touchdown of more than 13 yards, Cecil. Unbelievable.
So the extra point tried to come from McDonald after the long pass play on 3rd and long. They don't know what a goal line offense looks like, do they?
Very convincing not.
Kick is up from McDonald, and it just gets through. And our new score is Marauders 27 and Farmers 20. We've got a good one here at Max Goldsmith Stadium. Stick around. Marauders football continues in a moment.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores. 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Well, Ryan, like we talked about in the pregame show, big plays were going to make a difference tonight. We felt like big plays in the passing game were going to make a difference, and it certainly has here.
Yeah, Louisville doing what they do best in the act of not scoring a touchdown below 13 yards. We've seen 3 big passes for touchdowns for the Farmers, and you know what? If it works, keep doing it until it doesn't, right?
So here's the kickoff, and it's going to be very short and a nice fair catch. Well, it's not a fair catch. Yeah, it's a fair catch called by Friedewald. He starts running with it. Technically, that's supposed to be a penalty, but he didn't go far enough for it to make much difference. So I think they're going to give him some forgiveness on that one.
Yeah, that ball only went about 15, 20 yards, landing at the 40. The wind still moving strongly from north to south at Max Goldsmith Stadium, producing a lot of trouble for the kickers tonight. Get to see the first taste of Marauder offense in the second half.
So the Marauders are trying to protect this lead. Louisville just keeps coming after them. So they'll take over at their own 41-yard line after that 4-play, 75-yard touchdown drive by the Farmers. On first down, Respis has great blocking in front of him, and he goes 5 yards before he's even touched. Knocked down at the 46-yard line.
Yeah, Kalen Foser on the tackle for the Farmers. Met Respis about 3 yards into his run, able to drag him down by the legs as Respis tried to make a move up the middle.
So second down 5. Ball on the right hash at the 46. 2 backs next to Kaysen. The give this time goes to Hopkins. And again, a nice surge by the offensive front. He's up near the first down yardage. As this time it was Shaq Miller in on the tackle. So a third down 1 coming from midfield.
Yeah, and quickly the defense of the Farmers jumping all over the Marauders, really getting pumped from their offensive surge there, trying to give their offense another chance to get on the field as quickly as possible.
Third down 1. Give again to Hopkins and runs behind Trey Elliott left guard and barrels forward down to the 45 in Louisville territory for a first down. Trey Elliott, we haven't talked about him a lot this year, 6'4", 297, a senior who's committed to Arkansas State, and he showed why on that play.
Yeah, great effort there by Elliott, brought down by, once again, Shaq Miller, who seems to be just everywhere on the defense.
First set of downs from the Louisville 45. Hopkins carries for a third time now. He runs into a conflict at the 41 and spins and pulls 3 or 4 guys with him down inside the 40 to close to the 38-yard line. Among those on the tackle was Trenton Pickett.
Yeah, and Pickett had some help there from DeLeon Voss as the Marauders were really just trying to run it straight up the Farmers' throat down the middle, and they're slowly getting some yardage here, trying to keep the drive going.
Late change by Louisville. They only had 10 men on the field, and the handoff goes to Hopkins, and he takes advantage of it for a first down inside the 35 to the 33-yard line, a pickup of 5. And that they played that one with 10 men. They're lucky they didn't give up more, Louisville.
Yeah, it looked like a communication error there, and you hope to get those figured out before district starts, those communication errors, so that doesn't happen. But occasionally it does happen, and I think they did pretty well for themselves despite the circumstances.
Clock stops briefly, 8:13 to go third period, 27-20 Marcus. They're on the move. 2 first downs on this drive, down to the 33 now, and Respis will carry it, gets past the first wave, dances into the secondary, and is brought down just short of the first down at the 24-yard line by, I believe, Kibbe was one of those in on the tackle.
Yeah, and Respis he was almost breaking free there until Cortez Thomas was able to get his hands around his ankles before receiving some more help from Thomas to bring him down fully.
Friedewald joins the lineup as a wide receiver this time. He usually comes in for Caden Smith, but Smith is still in at a tight end left. Albright is in the slot inside on second down 1. This is a nice shot at maybe heading for the end zone and seeing what you could get on this play. Second down 1. And Kaysen goes back. He does want to throw it. He does want to throw it deep. Looking for Smith. And he tries to adjust the ball and catch it in the end zone, but he can't haul it in. Coverage that time by Kibbe. But that one sailed a little more than I think Kaysen intended with the wind at his back, and Smith just couldn't reach it.
Yeah, Smith tried to go for it, making a diving attempt, reaching out his right arm, and it just fell right off of his fingers. Great coverage there by Kibbe to not give up too much space to the all-star Smith.
Marcus leading by 7. They have a 3rd down 1, and they get a 1st down as Respis churns down inside the 20-yard line. Right now, the Marcus line is starting to dominate Louisville. They are pushing them back about 3 yards at a time.
It's funny, we've seen two different complete styles of moving down the field this game. We've seen the Marcus Marauders, who have really kind of just won the battles in the trenches and moving very slowly but doing it efficiently enough to keep the drive going, while we see Louisville just hurl the ball up there and go for the 30, 20-yard touchdowns and really not worry too much about moving inch by inch.
2 of those into the wind, too. 9th play of the drive, Hopkins takes it, has to break it off to the right side and is unable to gain much down to the 15-yard line. Pickett getting some playing time here in the second half, and he made the stop.
Yeah, he had some help there from Pelican, your favorite name out there, Pelican. He's been
name.
quite active tonight as well.
2nd and 6, up to the line quickly, and this will be a penalty against Marcus. Pre-snap penalty. They got motion going beforehand.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to be a false start on the Marauders. And once again, we've seen it happen before. They seem to take these penalties once they get inside the red zone that push them back. And you can only be successful so many times after this happens before you get caught. And at this point in the game where you're only up by a touchdown, you can't afford to take something like that.
6th penalty now for 50 yards against the Marauders. So back at the 20-yard line, call it 2nd down 10. Hand off to Respis. He's picking his way, taking his time, and gets slung down at about the 16-yard line. I think that may have been Kobe Chambers in on the tackle that time. Let's call it the 15, pick up 5. So Respis gets back what was lost before, but now it's a 3rd down 5. Respis, to this point, with that carry, just crossed the 100-yard mark. 14 carries, 103 yards, and a touchdown so far tonight.
Yeah, Respis been very active, and we're seeing a very different pace this third quarter as both teams have only had one possession each, and we're already down to 5 minutes left in the quarter.
Midway third quarter, 27-20 Marcus. Kaysen will throw on 3rd down 5. He's in trouble. Going to scramble left. He's going to make a few yards, but maybe only 1 yard before coming up from the secondary was Shaq Miller to make the stop, and this will bring about a 4th down. Do you bring in Mayers now that he's feeling better?
I think you do. His leg seems to be feeling just fine. You're kicking against with the wind, and you're only up by a touchdown now, so why not make it a 2-possession game for sure?
Kaysen wanted to go right. Nobody was open. He was under pressure, scrambled left for a yard. Now from the 14-yard line, it'll be a 32-yard field goal from Mayers. And the kick is away. It's a strong kick, and it is through. Our new score, Marcus 30 and Louisville 20. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
Marcus Marauders respond to the touchdown pass by Louisville, and they are able to take it 12 plays to go. I lost the number of yards there. I think they started at their own 41-yard line, so 59 yards in 12 plays. And finishing it off with a field goal at that point. So 5:08 to go, third period. Marauders back up to a double-digit lead of 10 points. Mayers has the same thing happen to him that's been happening to Matt McDonald of Louisville all night. The ball has fallen off the tee. Refs usually give him one chance to put it back on, but if it doesn't stay, they're going to make somebody hold it. And in fact, the back judge has come in and said, you have to have somebody hold it. We just don't have time for this.
It looks like they're No, he's not going to hold it.
Well, at first he said yes, and then he said, try it again.
Keep an eye on that ball here to see if it stays standing. You can almost see it wobbling from up here. Once again, strong wind moving from north to south. Started out south to north. It shifted quite a bit since the game has proceeded.
This is a line drive kick. Looked like it would be returnable, but it gets past Shavers into the end zone, and he'll have a touchback at that point.
Yeah, it was a very low and far kick as it came down at about the 10, right past the receiver for the Farmers, rolling back into the end zone for the touchback.
So the Marauders led 27-13 at the half. Louisville, on their opening possession of the third quarter, were able to strike 75 yards in 4 plays, a 46-yard touchdown pass from Bob to Kenry Newton. And then the Marauders have responded with a 32-yard field goal by John Mayers. We're at the 5:06 mark of the third quarter, 30-20 Marcus over Louisville. From the 25-yard line, Bob in the pistol has McGee behind him. And the give will go to, no, I'm sorry, again, it's Bob faking it and swinging outside to the right side. Nice fake that time, about 3 yards before Elijah Jopp runs him down.
Yeah, and there's a flag on the play. I didn't quite see what had happened, but it's right about where the Jopp made contact with Bob.
I think we may have a holding call here, and it is a hold. So that'll wipe out the gain by Bob and bring it back inside the 20-yard line.
Going to hand it and give credit where credit's due. The officiating crew tonight has been pretty spot on their calls, calling it both ways very evenly. And you got to love having a good officiating crew, and there are none better than these 6A officials.
So they'll spot it at the 17-yard line. That's one of those plays where it looks like the ball's going inside, and then as it swings outside, the guy on the edge winds up holding. Newton in motion from right to left. Bob will keep it himself. Kind of slips in the backfield, goes down at the 16-yard line, loses a yard. He was guarded there by Morris coming up from linebacker, but really the ground caused him to go down.
Yeah, and I've been out in Louisville. I'm more in the Dallas area. We got a lot of rain yesterday. I don't know if Louisville got any, but that turf could be pretty slick if they did. And it looked like he slipped pretty substantially there, and Morris maybe startled him a bit too much as he came down to the ground.
Morris last week, 1 tackle, 1 assist, 1 tackle for loss, but had a sack also against Arlington. From the 16 of Louisville, it's a 2nd down, 18 after the penalty and the wipeout, and Bob is going to look left side. Fitzgerald all over him, and the pass goes up. It's picked off by Hupfer. The pressure up front by Fitzgerald, the interception by Hupfer, his first of the season.
What a catch by Hupfer as he stays on him quite well, and he's able to bring that down as it sailed probably a good foot or two over Hupfer's head, but he reaches out, brings it down, and able to get the interception and a huge momentum swing for the Marauders.
So the Marauders will take it at the 47-yard line in Louisville territory. Great field position with the wind at their back here with 4:01 to go in the third quarter, leading 30-20. Hupfer has been victimized a couple of times tonight, but he gets his revenge right there.
Going to see the Marcus Marauder offense take the field once again and try and extend their lead.
Kaysen will hand off to Hopkins. He breaks a tackle, breaks a second tackle down to the 42-yard line of Louisville. And Madrick Pelican, the senior linebacker, in on that tackle. So Hopkins has been a lot more active here in the second half. They've been calling his number a lot more. And so far in the game, Hopkins, 11 carries, 71 yards. 2nd down, 5. Respis takes his turn. Goes over left guard, shakes outside to left tackle, fights, run down by Shaq Miller, but not before he has a first down at the 37 of Louisville.
Respis really likes that spin move up the middle. It looks like Respis is down, getting up slowly, but on his own will. He's going to go back down. Looks like he's holding his knee.
Well, let's take a timeout here as our score is Marcus 30 and the Louisville Fighting Farmers 20. You're listening to Marcus Marauders Football.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship social media.
Respis is up and moving off the field. What a night he's had. 15 carries for 108 yards. And most likely Tristan Newsom will take his place. Newsom has been pretty active for Marcus this year. 15 carries for 62 yards in spot duty. And he is in there now on this 1st and 10 situation at the 36-yard line of Louisville.
Yeah, against Arlington last week, had 14 carries for 50 yards, averaging 3.5 yards per carry, and expect Respis to get a little rest here.
Motion called as one of the receivers out to the right, Albright, started a little bit too soon, and it's a penalty against Marcus on 1st down.
Yeah, false start there, and that's going to move the ball back, and the Marauders once again taking a penalty that's really not necessary. And when you have a game that's within 10 points like this, you'd really like to not take those. I think it's their 7th on the night, their penalty.
Right, 7 penalties for 55 yards now. So a 1st and 15 back at the 41-yard line. And Kaysen is got one man next to him. It's Newsom. Newsom's going to take it and wiggles a little bit, but there's not much there. Crosses the 40 down to the 39-yard line. Just a couple of yards for the 189-pound senior. So here's a situation that you'd think maybe they'd go back to the air.
Yeah, you know, they've tried it a couple times throughout the game, and occasionally it's worked. You have a strong backfield with Hopkins, Newsom, and Respis. I mean, you have no shortage of running backs. It's the passing game that they've really tried to establish here tonight, and they're doing an okay job of it so far.
Kaysen has thrown it 20 times, completing 13 for 182 yards and a couple of scores, and he will go to the air, throwing it out right side. It's complete, and across the 35 and inside the 30-yard line is going to go Alex Albright that time. And it looked like in on the tackle was DeMondrick Hunter.
Like you said, trying to establish the pass game here, and Mitch Kaysen, his confidence, you can just tell by his posture and the way he's moving the ball in the air. His confidence has skyrocketed tonight, and I think that's great for him, especially as district's going, and things are going to be moving pretty fast now that district is here, especially with the schedule that you have ahead of you.
That's the first time tonight he's gone downfield to Albright. Handoff on this 3rd down play will go to Hopkins, and he drives forward near the 1st down marker. The line to gain was the 26, and I think he's about a half-yard shy.
Yeah, Shaq Miller bringing him down that time. Shaq really active in the trenches for the Farmers tonight.
So 4th and 1. What do the Marauders do here? They've got an offensive line that averages 281 pounds. The call is going to be we're going to go for it on 4th and 1. 2 minutes exactly to go 3rd quarter. Marauders up 30-20 on Louisville. Let's see if they can keep this drive going. Long count this time. Handoff to Hopkins, and he surges forward for the 1st down inside the 30 to the 27, running behind Peyton Keibel that time, and I believe Trey Elliott came over on the trap. Nice run.
Yeah, he had great blocking on that one, had a perfect little hole right up the middle. You know, it wasn't a lot of yards, but it was enough to get the 1st down and to keep the chains moving. And once again, the Marcus taking their time to get to the end zone. You see them be very relaxed, not in a rush at all, and making sure that they can get themselves established here.
Kaysen looks to throw it. Has Caden Smith in the end zone, goes up, a one-handed grab. Oh, he can't hold on. He was wrestling with the defender, Matthew Kibbe, and Smith reached out with one hand. It looked like he was going to pull it in, but he lost it as he went to the ground.
Yeah, I was watching that one through my binoculars close, and he had jumped up in the air, pulled it down with his right arm, and then when he had shifted his body to the right, I guess the ball popped loose, and as he came down, so did the ball. Very unfortunate there, but that would have been a heck of a catch if he was able to land it.
2nd down 10, and it's Hopkins. He breaks through into the secondary, across the 15, the 10, and down near the 8-yard line. He just kept going, finding running room, and it's a 1st and goal for Marcus.
About 10 yards into that run, he got tripped up, but kept going, eventually then putting his hand on the ground, and that's about the time where he came down, or else he probably would have been gone. He was only just a couple yards shy of the touchdown.
A 16-yard burst. This drive started back at the Louisville 47. Now it's at the Louisville 7. Hopkins trying to make a move in the hole, and he can't do it. Only a couple of yards there. It looked like one of the linebackers was there to stop him. Actually, that's the defensive end, Christian Lee, that we'll give credit to, along with, looked like Terrence Vaughn in there.
Yeah, he looked like he had an opening. He thought he did, but he was met quickly by two very large defensive linemen, giving him no chance to make any headway with the ball.
Second down goal from the 5. Let's see if they bring in Andrew Fitzgerald again. And yes, he's coming to the lineup. Going to be at a left tight end position with Hawkins Taylor right behind him. And Caden Smith split out wide to the right. Handoff goes to Hopkins. He runs behind those defensive linemen and pulls a man with him into the end zone. Touchdown, Marauders. Touchdown, Nate Hopkins.
Yeah, and Andrew Fitzgerald, excellent block on that one. He played on the left side, like you said, in more of a tight end position. Made an excellent block there, allowing Hopkins to get in and score the touchdown.
A 5-yarder, and Marcus goes up 36-20 now as Mayers comes on to toe the extra point. And the Marcus lead has been as much as 14 tonight. This is going to be their biggest now. Out of the hold of Albright, the kick is up, and it's good, and it's now Marcus with their largest lead of the night, 37-20 in the Battle of the Axe. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
Only 24 ticks left in our third quarter here from Max Goldsmith Stadium. It's 37-20, Marcus over Louisville. I'm Cecil Taylor, Ryan Medlin with you. Stick around. There's still a lot more surely to come as the big play Farmers offense has scored on 3 long passes tonight. They still have something in them, and we'll see what happens as we head to 12 more minutes of football. It was 21-7 after the first quarter alone. Now it's 37-20. Marcus leading. They trailed early on a touchdown pass to Shavers on the first play by Louisville, but since then Marcus has been able to come back and hold the advantage. Kickoff goes to Shavers 5 yards deep, and he'll take a knee, and it'll come out to the 25-yard line.
I got to say, what we've seen in the third quarter here, I think Coach Stanford is going to be really happy with because, like you said, they had that first play of the second half for the Farmers. I mean, that first drive, they were able to score a touchdown, and you're looking at yourself saying, hey, this game's far from over. They have a chance to come back. We got to do something here. And after a couple, little hiccups there, the Marcus Marauders kind of got back on the tracks, if you will, and kind of got this thing going again in their direction, and now they're just killing it from all directions.
20 first downs and 402 total yards for the offense after that touchdown. So from the 25-yard line, Louisville sets up shop. Aubrey and Bob is going to hand it off on first down, and most of the defensive line meets him. It's Baudet and it's Fitzgerald, and it looks like Sam Morris all in there. Credit Gambino. It's no gain at the 25. So 8 seconds left, and we're winding down here in the third quarter. That'll be the last play. With our score, Marcus 37 and Louisville 20. The Battle for the Axe continues in a moment here on Champion Sports Radio.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute online at gdyo.org/jazz. Well, if the Marauders defense could avoid the big pass play, they might have a
an even bigger margin. 3 long touchdown passes tonight. Bob got loose for a 31-yard run, but otherwise the Louisville offense has not been consistent tonight. Here on a 2nd and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Let's see what they can do as we enter the fourth quarter. 3 receivers set to the right. Bob looks that way. One of them is going over the middle, throws it there. It's going to get picked off. A diving interception that time by the deep man, Zach Goff, one of the safeties. He's had a quiet night, but that pass went to nowhere. But Goff, playing like a center fielder, came over and dived for it and got the pass.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where Bob was going with that when he threw it up the middle. Uh-oh, looks like we got a flag on the play. That's going to be a personal foul, I think.
I think there was some jawing with the ref by one of the Louisville players who I think was claiming that he was held on the play. And so, we've had some bad scenes with officials here in the last week here in Texas, and certainly we want all the players to do the right thing. So the officials are going to have not much of a tolerance for anything like that. So anyway, Goff with the interception that time. It's the second pickoff tonight of Bob, and both of them have come here in the second half.
Yeah, Marcus Marauders, once again, the offense is going to get out there with pretty good field position as they get the ball at the 38 and in hopes of extending their lead by a touchdown once again. And already a monster lead of 17 points for the Marauders, and I expect them to probably take their time a little bit on this one and keep the ball on the ground and let the clock roll a little bit.
This is a critical time for the Louisville defense. They really need a stand to keep their team in the game. A touchdown here by Marcus would almost salt it away. Here's the handoff to Newsome, who is met with some resistance, spins, keeps churning inside the 35 to the 33. That's about as good of a 4-yard run as you'll see.
Really battled for that one, Newsome did. And if you're Coach Stanford, you got to love the position you're in as far as running backs go. You can plug in Newsome, Hopkins, or Respis and probably get the same result because your offensive line is so big in size that they're able to block so well, and these running backs are so talented that if you put in any of those 3 guys, you're going to have great results.
Kind of a 50-50 split. Here's between run and pass. Here's the handoff to Hopkins, and he wades through would-be tacklers inside the 30 to about the 28-yard line. My point on that is that you've seen a lot of runs, but as far as passes are concerned, there have been 22 pass attempts, 37 rushing attempts. So it's not quite 50-50, but still pretty good measure for the Marcus Marauders. And now they face a 3rd down 1 at the 28 of the Farmers. Hopkins knew some of the setbacks. Hopkins has a hole behind center Jesse Nybor, and the first down inside the 25 to the 23-yard line looked like coming up from the secondary was one of the men back there, maybe Joseph Lane, but a tackle at the 23 and a first down for Marcus.
They're going to credit Trenton Pickett with that tackle on Hopkins, and once again, Marauders keeping the ball on the ground. At this point, you just kind of want to run the clock as much as you can, but with your run game, you're making progress, so why not do both? Run the clock off and make the progress you need.
1st and 10 at the Farmers 23, but Kayson's going to throw it out to the right side. The ball is caught, one-handed juggling catch by Albright. Then he's blasted at the 19 by, looked like Pickett coming up from the secondary, but it's still a 5-yard gain. What a play that time by Albright.
And, despite them running it so much right now, I think, looking back on this game, you got to love how well the passes worked for the Marauders. It wasn't their specialty last week. That was something, I wouldn't say they struggled with it, but it definitely wasn't something they felt as confident in. But tonight, they're really going out there and showing that they can put the ball in the air or on the ground. Either way, they're going to produce.
That's right. Kayson close to 200 yards, 196 now. Hopkins sidesteps a tackler, gets through a narrow hole and inside the 25 to the 20, the 15 to the 10-yard line. I was 10 yards off, and that'll bring about a first down.
Yeah, a great play there by Hopkins, and once again shows his resiliency of, once he, a good running back won't go down after the first hit, right? A good running back will fight through and wait for the second or third hit to finally give in, and that's what Hopkins does.
Here comes Hopkins. Big hole at right tackle, but it closes quickly, and he just gets inside the 10-yard line. And, boy, he got popped that time by DeLeon Voss, the senior linebacker, at about the 9-yard line, pickup of 2. So a 2nd down 8 as they started this right outside the 10 at the 11-yard line. So this drive started at the 37-yard line after the Goff interception and the 15-yard penalty that went on top of it. Now the Marauders are at the 9-yard line, leading by 17 points with 9 minutes to go in the game. Trying to build a big lead here. Hopkins surges at left tackle and plows down to about the 6-yard line. And that time it was the middle linebacker, Fosher, the first one to hit him. 3 straight carries and 5 out of the last 6 for Nate Hopkins.
Yeah, Hopkins and Newsom splitting the time now ever since Respis went down with that ankle injury. I haven't seen Respis doing anything over on the sidelines, but hopefully he's feeling a little bit better.
Don't need him right now as Hopkins is carrying the load and Newsom is spelling him from time to time. Here's a 3rd down, 4 from the 6-yard line. Make it 3rd down, 5. Will they pass? Will they run? Kaysen wants to pass it. Looking for Smith, has to scramble. Kind of his knee buckles as he makes a cut, and he goes down at the 5-yard line. Kaysen is fine. He just lost his footing, and that'll bring about a 4th down and a field goal attempt from John Mayers.
Quick injury update on C.J. Respis for the Marcus Marauders. He's sitting on the trainer's table right now. The trainer taking a look at his right ankle. They're looking at it. Looks like they're going to tape it up a little bit from what I can see. He's got his helmet off and both shoes off as well, trying to nurse that ankle.
23-yard field goal attempt coming from John Mayers, and the sophomore gets it up, and it goes right down the middle. So it's now Marcus 40 and Louisville 20. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShopboxDFW.com to learn more about the Shockbox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
7:36 to go in our ball game. The Marauders have had a couple of drives stall in the second half, had to settle for field goals, but it all adds up to a 20-point advantage. They've doubled up Louisville 40-20 in the battle for the Axe. Mayers kicking into the win is going to slice one up high to about the 25-yard line, and a nice tackle there, I believe, on Cortez Thomas. And it looks like it was Newsom making the tackle that time on the special teams. So taking the ball over at the 29-yard line, the Farmers will try to do something here to get back in the ball game.
Yeah, a 20-point deficit between them and the Marauders right now. It'll be interesting to see how Louisville responds as far as whether they're going to keep going for the sake of pride or keep going in hopes to maybe mount some sort of comeback. I mean, we've seen crazier things happen in this game. It's definitely if they can continue to score the way they've been scoring, which is about 3 plays and then a long pass for a touchdown, who knows?
Aubrey and Bob sends a man in motion. He's going to toss it back to the right side. That's Harlan, and he runs hard, but he's taken down by Elijah Jopp across the 30 at about the 33-yard line.
Jopp had a big presence tonight for the defense of the Marauders. All things considered, I think Marcus's defense has played quite the game. I don't think they're as sharp as they were last week against Arlington, but then again, we're into district play now where you're going to start seeing a lot tougher teams and a lot stronger teams as well.
Louisville has 5 first downs. 3 of those have come on touchdown plays. So it's either feast or famine. 2nd down 6 from their own 33-yard line. Tyrell Shavers right to left in motion. Bob will give to the up back, and Baudet is all over him at the 35-yard line. That is the fullback, Josh Adebayo. They'll call it the 36, so it brings about a 3rd and about 4.
We probably will see a big play here the way things have gone. 3rd down and 4th down have seemed to be when Farmers thrive the most as far as their big plays. Expect to see a big pass out here. possibly to Shavers because he's been a good target tonight.
You know, on 3rd and 3, you would think you'd run the ball, but there's 6:20 to go in the ball game.
You got to get something going.
They've got to move quickly. So let's see what they do on 3rd and 3. Adebayo is a fullback in front of McGee in a broken eye formation out of the pistol. Bob fakes, looks deep. He's going to throw it deep for Shavers, who's guarded there by Hankins, but it's complete. Hankins went up fighting with him for it, but 6'5" Tyrell Shavers was able to outjump him at the 28 of Marcus.
You know, I hate to say I told you so on that one, but you got to figure that's how they were going to move because usually about 3rd down, most teams will run it with 3 yards, but like you said, 6 minutes left on the clock. You're going to try and make a big play and get the ball down the field. Shavers has been the target all night. He's been the Caden Smith for the Farmers, and once again, Shavers comes up with a big catch into double coverage.
A 36-yard connection. And we have 6:02 to go in the ball game. Halfway through the 4th quarter, 40-20 Marcus. Bob again, play action. Same play, looking deep. The man turns around and tries to catch it at the end zone. It's incomplete as the ball just kind of hung up and floated kind of strangely. He was looking for Shavers again, and I believe that was, again, Hankins on the coverage.
Yeah, Shavers ran back. Hankins was in the end zone when Shavers decided to curl right to the goal line, and when he curled, he realized the ball was coming short, so he went to the ground trying to dive out and catch it and was already laying on the ground when the ball made contact with his chest, bounced off onto the turf, incomplete pass.
5:55 to go in the ball game. It's a 2nd down 10. Louisville trying to get back into the fray here, down by 20. They're at the 28-yard line of Marcus. And we've got a penalty marker down as there was some movement in the line before the snap, so here's a penalty against Louisville.
Not a good time to take the penalty if you're the Farmers. It's a false start. I think that was on the wide receiver. I think he moved a little bit.
I used to play wide receiver, and let me tell you, the coaches would scold you very harshly if you moved or were offsides because you were supposed to go looking in at the snap of the ball. So they always say, in fact, what they did to try to coach us was they wouldn't even tell us what the snap count was. We went out to our positions, so we didn't know what the snap count was. We were just supposed to watch the ball be snapped.
Best way to do it. Always rely on the ball, not the snap count.
So on 2nd and 15, they try the right side deep again for Shavers, and he leaps over and makes the catch. What a nice play against Hankins. Hankins doing everything he could, but Shavers is just too big and strong, and he catches it and goes down at the 5-yard line of Marcus.
Yeah, Shavers moved up the right side to about the 15 when the ball was thrown into the air to him. Hankins was on the inside of Shavers. Shavers kind of like stopped for a little bit, stutter step, turned, made the catch, and then Hankins got drawn to the outside where Shavers was finally brought down at about the 9-yard line.
Tough matchup as now Shavers has caught passes of 36 and 29 yards here on this drive alone. Bob is going to fake, or he gives it, to McGee and Morris and others. Oh, the ball came loose in the middle of it, but they had already blown it dead. Nice job by the Marauders defense of trying to strip the ball there.
Yeah, they're trying to make a turnover happen. They don't want to give up any more points to Louisville. They want to keep them at 20 and build their lead up as much as possible so it looks good in the papers the next day, especially for a rivalry like this and the Battle of the Axe. You know, they've won 8 years in a row, the past 8 years for the Battle of the Axe. They're trying to make it 9, and they're trying to make it not even a contest.
Shavers with 4 catches for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns, but he still trails Caden Smith, who has 8 for 158 and a score. McGee is the tailback. Fake to him, Bob, nice fake, goes outside, has a man open at the 2. A nice hit by Goff, but still it looks like the man, no, he didn't quite make the end zone. Was that Adebayo who was going for it there? Yes.
It was, and, you know, Goff basically held him up as long as he could before he slid in. But when he moved to the inside or to the outside of Goff, he slipped a little bit and his knee hit the ground before he was able to break the plane.
Here we go, a 3rd down goal from the 1-yard line. Great hustle by the Marcus defense after Goff held him up.
Look for them to, I honestly wouldn't be surprised to see a pass here just because that's what's been working for him. They're lining Shaver up way out to the right, maybe trying to get him open, but the smart player here would be trying to run it up the middle.
With 4 minutes to go, Bob tries the quarterback sneak, and he's in for the score. So 40-26 now as Louisville goes for the extra point. Well, they did get some push that time against the Marcus defense, just not enough room to stop them.
Yeah, and that was the smart move. Just let the quarterback get the ball and just ram it up the middle with all your offensive line there to guide you into the end zone for the touchdown.
8-play drive that started back on the Louisville's 29-yard line. So they go 71 yards in those 8 plays with 2 big pass plays to Shavers. Franklin, the sophomore, will hold. It looks like they may have gotten a piece of it. It was partially blocked, and it is no good. So our new score is Marcus 40 and Louisville 26. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
With 3:56 left, the Marcus Marauders are suspicious of an onside kick. 10 men pulled up close now. After Louisville has scored to cut it to 2 as a margin, and it is an onside kick, but Louisville jumps on it too quickly. It did not go the requisite 10 yards. So Marcus will take over at the Louisville 49-yard line. Just a little too eager that time by Louisville. So Marcus, with 3:56 to go in the ball game, you would think you would see a lot of runs here. They're going to spot it actually at the 48-yard line of Louisville, and that's where this drive will begin. Boy, Tyrell Shavers, what a talent, though. 6'5", 195, still just a junior. You can tell they're going to come knocking on his door next year. Kaysen has gone all the way at quarterback. The lead has never been safe enough to just take him out and put in any backups as Louisville keeps coming back and coming back. It was a 20-point lead down to 14 now. Hopkins on first down will go left and cuts back right, and he's roped down at the 45-yard line by the defensive back, Shaq Miller, coming up from the secondary. Stick around for our post-game show, as on it we will be reviewing the highlights and the statistics of this game, and also we'll be talking with Coach Jerry Stanford on the In Command Broadcasting post-game show. Gain of 3 that time for Hopkins to start off this drive. Clock rolls with 3:18. Louisville has all their timeouts, haven't used any on this drive yet. Hopkins will drag a couple of men with him. What power. Down to the 40-yard line. And one of them hanging on was DeLeon Voss. But Hopkins just kept churning with those powerful legs. And a nice gain down to the 40 to bring him out third and short. Hopkins now has joined Respis and surpassed him. 23 carries for 131 yards and a couple of touchdowns. Respis 15 for 109 with 1 touchdown. So for the second week in a row, Marcus has a pair of 100-yard rushers. And they've paired that with some good passing as well, almost 200 yards passing to go with the 246 rushing as a team. Hopkins will take it and gain the first down to the 37-yard line. One thing you also have to like about that young man right now is the ball security, as he is able to keep hold of it. This is a time when you know that you want to have that, and Marcus has been really golden this year. No fumbles so far this year, and hopefully that won't jinx them to say that, but no fumbles so far this season. Also on our postgame show, we'll be checking some of the scores around the area and how those have been going, especially in 6-6A, and also want to take a look at 5-6A because that's the playoff matchup that you would have later on. should they get that far. Tristan Newsom gets a turn on a handoff and spins and rolls over a man down to the 31-yard line, and now Louisville is going to call a timeout. So let's take a timeout as well with our score 40-26. Marcus leading. Marcus Marauders football continues in a moment.
Are you looking for a way to promote your business or increase exposure? Do you just need more people to know that you're there? Join the Champion Sports Radio team and advertise during these games. In the last 4 years, Champion Sports Radio has broadcast over 600 games to more than 3.5 million listeners. And Champion Sports Radio wants to help you use major high school sports to reach thousands of local fans right in your community. Think about it. Die-hard fans just like you tune in each and every week, giving your business unparalleled access to the community. It's the perfect way for smaller individually owned businesses to cultivate a core clientele or expand their already loyal customer base. To secure your prime commercial spot during the broadcast, contact Thomas Lee at Champion Sports Radio by phone at 972-741-0334. That's 972-741-0334 or online at championsportsradio.com. Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcast.
And back here at Max Goldsmith Stadium on a 2nd down 5. After that timeout, Hopkins will swing around the left side, stay in bounds out by the numbers at about the 29. Louisville is going to take another timeout. So everything points to Marcus going to 3-0 on the season. All pretty impressive victories. They started with an upset of Mansfield in week 1 on the road, winning by a score of 27-17 over a team that at the time was ranked in the top 10 in the Metroplex. They came back last week and blasted Arlington 42-17 in a game that really wasn't that close. It wasn't but a couple of late scores by Arlington that drew them that close. So an impressive night, and for the second week in a row, the Marauders put 40 on the board as they lead 40-26 right now with 1:45 to go in the ball game. That's the next to the last timeout for Louisville, so they may stop it again after this 3rd and 3 play. About their only hope is to somehow get a quick score, get an onside kick, and try it again. And you can't count them out because that connection with Shavers has been deadly tonight with the 4 catches for 136 of the 203 passing yards by Aubrey and Bob. So Kaysen brings the Marauders back out on 3rd down 3 at the Louisville 29-yard line. Under 2 minutes to go. Hopkins, what a hole. He has the first down and more inside the 20, spinning down to the 19-yard line. The right side of the offensive line just caved in the Louisville defense, and that will surely do it. The clock will stop temporarily with that play, but down at the 19-yard line, that's going to polish off Louisville right there because they only have 1 timeout left and Marcus can run out the clock. Hopkins, again, a big night with 147 rushing yards. Last week he had 159 on 20 carries, and he's toted it 26 times tonight. Now it's time to go to a knee. Kaysen steps back, and he'll take a knee here. So the start of District 6-6A play has been successful for the Marcus Marauders as Louisville has their final timeout that they will take. Like I said, we're going to be checking in on some of the other games, and right now there's some interesting games going on in the district as Plano is having a hard time putting away Hebron, leading 28-21 in the 4th quarter. Plano East up 36-24 on Flower Mound. They've got a bit of an edge, and again, that high-powered Panther offense doing the job tonight. Speaking of high-powered offenses, Allen leading McKinney Boyd 45-9, and Boyd is no slouch as they've made the playoffs 5 years in a row, but Allen is in a class of its own. They lost Kyler Murray, and now they have 2 really good quarterbacks, one a transfer in who is committed to Oregon. Boyd looks like they're down in the red zone, perhaps to score again, but they are way behind in the 4th quarter. So 1:09 to go in this one. Marcus goes back into a shotgun, and Kaysen will take the snap and take a knee. They're going to spot it back at the 26. Sometimes the officials will go ahead and pretend as if you took the knee right behind center. We've seen that happen so far this year, but not this time. So it's a loss of 6 that goes on Kayson's record. What a fine game he's played tonight, though. Keeping the ball safe and throwing for nearly 200 yards. Clock winds with 40 seconds to go. I think the Marauders may only have to snap it one more time if they play this right. Kayson is waiting until it gets inside the 5-second mark, and he again takes a knee back at the 32-yard line, and that should do it. So the teams trot to the sidelines and get ready for the handshake line, as that is our ball game. Our final score, Marcus 40, Louisville 26. Marcus withstood every challenge by the Farmers, and with a strong running game was able to hold off the Farmers in the second half. So the Fighting Farmers go down to the loss to start district play, and Marcus stays 3-0 on the season and 1-0 in district. So thanks for listening to this ball game. We have plenty to go, though, because we have the post-game show coming up with highlights. We'll have a recap of the stats, and we'll also have post-game conversation with Marcus coach Jerry Stanford. You are listening to Marcus Marauders Football.
This broadcast is under the direction and is copywritten by Champion Sports Radio. Any rebroadcast, retransmission, or use of the audio stream, and any and all other use of the accounts of this broadcast without the direct written consent and permission of Champion Sports Radio is strictly prohibited. All rights are reserved by Champion Sports Radio and ChampionSportsRadio.com. This is a presentation of Champion Sports Radio, your home for championship broadcasts.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute, online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online at pointoforigindesign.com. Let them help you plan your next promotional item or design your next t-shirt. That's online at pointoforigindesign.com.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that nearly 4 million brain injuries occur every year due to sports in the U.S. They also estimate that 70% of concussions go unreported. Not identifying concussions early can be devastating, especially if the athlete continues to play with symptoms. Catching hard hits fast is critical, and that's why you need the Shockbox Helmet Impact Sensor. The Shockbox is a small sensor that easily attaches to most football, lacrosse, and hockey helmets and instantly sends a signal to a smartphone on the sidelines when the player has taken a hard hit that puts them at higher risk for injury. The free app receives data from the sensor, displays information about the impact, and even walks the user through a concussion assessment. The app also logs log symptom and impact data for future medical use. Visit ShopboxDFW.com to learn more about the ShockBox Impact Alert Sensor and determine if it is the right option for your child. Be warned instantly when a player has experienced a head impact that could result in a concussion. Visit ShockboxDFW.com today. ShockboxDFW.com.
Okay, let's take a look at some of the statistics from this ball game tonight. And it ended up this way. Marcus had 24 first downs compared to 8 for Louisville. Marcus with 254 yards rushing paired with 196-yard passing for a total of 450 yards. Louisville 65 rushing. That's all they could muster. 203 through the airways for 268. So the Marcus defense gives up an average of 202 yards per game coming in to this one. But in this case, they give up a little more due to the passing game. And it winds up being a 268-yard night, but still pretty fine for the defense. Penalties went 7 penalties for 55 yards. And against Marcus, 5 for 41 against Louisville. Looking at individual stats, the Marauders were led on the ground by Nate Hopkins, the senior tailback, with 26 carries, 147 yards, and 2 touchdowns. C.J. Respus carried the ball mostly early before leaving due to an injury. 15 carries, 109 yards, averaging 7.3 per carry. He also scored a touchdown. Newsom got some carries late for a total of 11 yards. Mitch Kaysen went 15 for 23 tonight for 196 yards and 2 touchdowns, completing 65% of his passes. His favorite target was Caden Smith, 8 receptions for 158 yards and a score. And what is really interesting, I think, is that all of last year, Caden Smith had 29 receptions, and so far through 3 games, he has 19 receptions. So Caden Smith really turning it on this season. Alex Albright, 6 catches for 34 yards. And then on the other side of the field, Aubrey and Bob was the leading rusher, 9 carries for 43 yards. But remember, 31 of those came on 1 carry. Otherwise, he was only 8 for 12 for the night. McGee had 11, Harlan 8. They combined for only 19 yards rushing. Meanwhile, 136 receiving yards for Tyrell Shavers on 4 receptions. He had 2 scores in there. Newton had 2 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown, and Benson 1 catch for 13 yards. Bob went 8 of 12 for 203 yards and 3 touchdowns, but he did throw 2 interceptions to Hupfer and to Goff. So that's a look at the statistics. When we come back, we're going to take a look at some of the highlights from this game. You're listening to Marcus Marauders Football.
In Command Broadcasting, a sports TV broadcasting and marketing company. In Command Broadcasting provides a wide array of turnkey video production and streaming services. In Command services include filming of sporting events, season highlights, school graduations, corporate infomercials, and documentaries. In Command streams your sporting event or company function over the internet live or on demand. Call 972-851-7888 to raise the energy of your next event. In Command Broadcasting, 972-851-7888.
There's a time and a place for everything.
As you'll see, projections for the next quarter are...
He shoots, he scores! 2 points for team middle management.
The office is not one of them.
Jack, can I see you in my office?
No pouting, it's your ball. Let's see what you got.
But Whirly Ball is. For corporate events, team building, and private parties, Whirly Ball in Hearst and Plano is electric fun. Test your skills on the arcade games. Zip around in your Whirly Bug for a Whirly Ball competition. Or play the most affordable laser tag in the city. Learn more at whirlyball.info.
Point of Origin Design is your one-stop shop for all your apparel, promotional, event, or team uniform needs. Point of Origin Design is a full-service design and logo creation company that offers a wide variety of imprintable and embroidered products. With competitive pricing and quality work, you can't go wrong with Point of Origin Design. It's always best to start at the right point, so visit them online.
Writer Gerald Early said that when they study our civilization 2,000 years from now, there will only be 3 things that Americans will be known for: the Constitution, baseball, and jazz music. GDYO's Jazz Institute provides young musicians in North Texas the opportunity to learn what it means to be a jazz musician through weekly technique classes and combo rehearsals with professional jazz musicians. From the first note to the final round of applause, GDYO Jazz Institute concerts will amaze and delight both hardcore jazz cats and new fans alike. Learn more about the truly original American art form through the GDYO Jazz Institute online at gdyo.org/jazz.
Many heart conditions can be fixed, but many of us don't know we have a problem until it's too late. On April 2, 2009, Zachary Schraw, a 16-year-old sophomore offensive lineman, died of sudden cardiac arrest, the #1 cause of death among student athletes. Like so many SCA victims, Zach had no heart issues, nor did anyone in his family. If Zach had an echocardiogram, he might have been able to avoid suffering a condition that takes 10,000 of our youth each year. In his memory, Living for Zachary was formed to try and prevent SCA from taking the lives of youth everywhere. Join in the fight today and stop the silent killer of SCA by scheduling your young athlete for an echocardiogram, a procedure that can detect any heart issue with 99% accuracy. For more information, visit www.livingforzachary.org. That's living4zachary.org, and let your heart be heard.
Welcome back as they start to turn out the lights at Max Goldsmith Stadium as we're at the post-game show sponsored by In Command Broadcasting. And this is Cecil Taylor along with Ryan Medlin. We're going to hear in just a few moments from Coach Jerry Stanford, his outlook on how the game went tonight. But right now, let's check on some of the highlights, and then we'll get to the scoreboard after that. So the game started with fireworks very early as the Louisville Farmers scored on a 46-yard touchdown on their first offensive snap after stopping Marcus on downs from the 46-yard line. It was Bob to Shavers, and Louisville went up by a score of 7-0. After that, it was a nice response by the Marcus Marauders as they were able to take a long drive and go 6 plays. One of the big plays of the drive was Caden Smith catching a big pass of 20 yards that set up a short run, or rather got them inside the 25-yard line, and that's where it was Nate Hopkins who was able to burst for a run for the touchdown. Just under 8 minutes to go, first quarter. Kaysen again in the gun. Run, look. It's going to go to Hopkins for the first time tonight. He breaks the tackle. He's into the secondary. The 10, the 5, touchdown. He sets the ball down in the end zone, and it's a touchdown for the Marcus Marauders. The extra point could tie the game. And it did, and that made it 7-7 at that point. On the next play after the extra point, a really weird play on the kickoff that gave the ball back to the Marcus Marauders. Mayers has been really good with his kickoffs. This is a short kick that's going to bounce at the 20-yard line. The Marauders have a chance at it, and I think they have the football. The Marauders have gotten it. And leaping up to make the play is Elijah Jopp. So the ball on a short high kick by Cunningham comes down, bounds high, and then Elijah Jopp came away with the football. That led to a 20-yard 5-play drive by the Marauders, and it was capped by this touchdown run by C.J. Respis. With 123 yards total in the first quarter already, Respis finds a seam, goes past left guard, hit right at the goal line, and he goes in standing up. So the Marauders have taken advantage, and they'll go up 13-7. They gained a lead that they never gave up, as it was 14-7 at that point. On their next possession, Caden Smith caught a pass way down to the 2-yard line on a 4th down, a 33-yard pass play to keep a drive alive from Mitch Kaysen. They got set back by a penalty, but that just delayed them a little bit as they went up by 2 touchdowns on this play. The defensive end, Andrew Fitzgerald, playing on offense. This is the first time I've seen him out there on offense so far this year. Hawkins Taylor, a defensive tackle, is in there as well. and they are in front of Hopkins this time on the right side of the line, and they fake and throw it out. It is to Fitzgerald. Kaysen hits Fitzgerald for the touchdown, and it's 20-7. And it went to 21-7 after that. On the next drive, Shavers made one of the big plays of the night. Louisville just keeps its streak alive of having big pass plays. They scored 3 touchdowns tonight, all from at least 13 yards, and this one was one of them right there. So here we go, a 4th down 5, big play for the Marcus defense. Louisville at the 25 of Marcus. Bob is going to roll out left side. He gets hit just as he throws, wings it deep for Shavers, who makes a move to catch it at the 5 and leans into the end zone for the touchdown despite. And so that left it 21-13 after a failed extra point. It was the first score of the second quarter, but not the last one, as Caden Smith and Tyrell Shavers seem to have a competition going with receiving tonight. And on the next possession, it was Smith taking his turn. Caden Smith already 6 catches, 96 yards, making 7 catches. He breaks a tackle at the 50, down the boundary at the 40, the 30. He's running away, the 20, the 10. That's a touchdown for Caden Smith. And for Caden Smith, it's his 5th touchdown reception of the season. And that capped a 71-yard drive and left our halftime score at 27-13. In the second half, Louisville struck on their opening possession with a 31-yard run by Aubryon Bob, setting up a pass from Bob to Kendry Newton of 46 yards to cap a 75-yard drive and slice the lead down to 27-19. But Marcus responded with a long drive of 12 plays that culminated in a 32-yard field goal by John Mayers to make it 30-20. A key play on the next drive, 4 minutes to go in the third quarter, Cameron Hupfer picked off a pass of Aubryon Bob to give the ball back to Marcus. That led to a 10-play, 47-yard drive that was capped by Nate Hopkins running in from 5 yards out to make it 37-20. A field goal by Mayers capped the scoring by Marcus in the fourth quarter to make it 40-20. But Louisville wasn't done. They had an 8-play, 71-yard drive capped by a 1-yard run on a quarterback sneak by Aubryon Bob to bring about our final score of 40-26. So with that, let's take a look at some of the scores going on. And gosh, we have a good one going on between Plano and Hebron to start off 6-6A play, Ryan?
Yeah, there's about a minute going left in the fourth quarter, and Plano and Hebron tied at 28. Hebron with the magnificent comeback, and that game is remaining close with just about a minute left. Expect for that one to maybe go into possible overtime. Plano East takes on Flower Mound tonight and defeats them 36-24, as Plano East has a great showing in their first District 6-6A of the game of the season. McKinney Boyd, of course, falls to the Allen Eagles 45-15. They held in there as long as they could, but ultimately the Allen Eagles were just too much football for McKinney Boyd. And that's your look around at District 6-6A tonight, and of course capping off with the Marauders' victory over the Farmers.
So let's take a break and come back and listen to Coach Jerry Stanford on our postgame show with the coach. This is the In Command Broadcasting postgame show on Champion Sports Radio. You're listening to Marcus Marauders Football.
Stay up on all the latest news about the teams you care about and know when your favorite games are on the air thanks to Champion Sports Radio social media. Either follow @Champion Sports on Twitter or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio, and you will know what time your game starts, who was named Player of the Week, or what your school's alumni are doing in college. That's on Twitter @Champion Sports and facebook.com/Champion Sports Radio. Your home for championship social media.
Shell experts here with a pitching machine and a shield to demonstrate the importance of protecting your engine.
Think of me as an engine. The Shield is new Shell gasoline with 20% more nitrogen and rich cleaning agents than before.
And the baseballs are gunk that attack intake valves and fuel injectors.
Come on, gunk, is that all you got?
Gunk is out of here.
New Shell nitrogen-enriched gasolines. No other gasoline protects your engine better.
For quality auto service and repair, see the folks at Flat Shell on Preston Road at I-635.
Are you tired of only spending time as a family huddled around the TV? Would you like to enjoy some culture with your loved ones without breaking the bank? Then let me introduce you to the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra. The GDYO provides music education and performance opportunities for musically talented youth, but this is no kids' concert. The GDYO comprises 7 different ensembles made up of over 425 talented musicians ages 8 to 18, representing more than 50 communities in North Texas. You won't believe how amazing these ensembles sound until you hear it for yourself. So join them for one of their concerts at the Meyerson Symphony Center or Dallas City Performance Hall. For more information on how to make a donation, as well as a listing of upcoming GDYO concerts, visit gdyo.org. And if you know a talented young musician interested in an unbelievable experience, auditions take place in the spring. Connect with the Greater Dallas Youth Orchestra on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and at gdyo.org.
Join us next week when we're back at Marauder Stadium for the contest between Marcus and Hebron. And, of course, Hebron is in a barn burner tonight with the Plano Wildcats tied at 28, coming back in the fourth quarter. Well, Marcus had to come back from an early 7-0 deficit, but led the rest of the way after they had evened it and gotten ahead. Louisville could never catch up. And let's catch up now with Coach Jerry Stanford. Ryan Medlin talked to him just a few moments ago.
Obviously getting the first win in the first game in district. Battle of the Axe is yours. How's it feel tonight?
Oh, the kids just did a great job all week. You come into a real emotional game, a real high-volume game with a big crowd in front of you. First rivalry game of many that we've got to go the rest of this season. The kids just executed, stayed focused, never got too involved in the emotions of the game, and we're just pleased on what the kids' performance was in the victory tonight.
You moved Andrew Fitzgerald to offense for a couple of plays there. He notched a touchdown and a big block to allow Hopkins in. Explain that move real quick.
Yeah, that's what we've been working on all year long. We just use it when we need it right there. Andrew did a great job. Taylor Hawkins did a great job into the flats right there.
And real quick, the air game was a lot better tonight. Passing looked great. Mitch Kaysen looked great through the air. Talk about that and how he's been working on that.
You know, we're coming along. Caden's a great attribute to our team, obviously, being one of the great players in this area. But some of our other receivers really stepped up tonight and lended a hand and just did a great job all night long.
All right, enjoy it, Coach. Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Okay, Marcus coach Jerry Stanford, obviously excited, but also ready to go off and talk to some other folks, get ready for the post-game celebration. And Marcus players are still down on the field here well after the game is over. That's one of those things I think that happens in a rivalry game. You kind of hang out for a while. We didn't mention it on the broadcast, but at the very first of the game, when in the pregame, they each had different music that the Louisville PA was coming up with when the teams came on the field.
Yeah, the Frozen Let It Go, the popular Child's tune, was the music the Marauders came out to tonight, while Louisville came out to Hell's Bells. A little bit difference in song there as far as getting a team pumped up. It was quite comedic, though. You got to respect the rivalry, and both teams do. Definitely, both teams have tremendous respect for each other, and we saw it on the field tonight. They strictly played football. We saw no extracurriculars, a couple, mouth stuff, but nothing crazy and nothing out of hand. Overall, I think you couldn't ask for a better game, especially from the Marauder point of view.
Well, the Marauders' player of the game is Andrew Fitzgerald, the 6'5", 250-pound defensive end, who surprised us by playing on offense as well, coming in and catching one touchdown pass and then throwing a block to spring Nate Hopkins for a touchdown run. So in addition to that, of course, he played very stellar football. I noticed tonight I saw very rarely when Denzel Okafor, their star tackle, was matched up against Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald made them pay a few times as he got into the backfield, hurried the quarterback, looked like he came up with a fumble at one point, but the ball was blown dead. But he did raise havoc in the backfield.
Yeah, Fitzgerald's one of those kids that's going to go on and do big things with his career. He knows he's a smart player, and he showed tonight. I mean, it was almost kind of watching I know it's a little different, but Rob Gronkowski, sometimes they'll throw him on offense just for fun, right? And sure enough, it works just fine. Or no, I'm sorry,
J.J. Watt, right?
J.J. Watt. I get the two mixed up. I was saying Gronkowski's already on.
They're both freaks.
Right, exactly. They're both freaks of nature. And, when you put J.J. Watt on offense, it works. Well, tonight you put Andrew Fitzgerald on offense, and guess what? It worked. And you know what? I would not be surprised to see it a couple more times each game this season.
So far, so good for the Marcus Marauders. 3-0 on the season, 1-0 after a 40-26 victory in their district opener over the Louisville Farmers. Join us next week, Friday night at 7 o'clock, when we're back at Marauder Stadium for the district opening home game against the Hebron Hawks. I'm Cecil Taylor, along with Ryan Medlin. Thanks for joining us on this one. Thanks to Thomas Lee for all of his help with Champion Sports Radio. And thank you for being with us tonight. Good night, everybody.